Ah,
All right, are we going to revisit that conversation we were having before, or no?
Nope, nope.
what
Okay,
conversation? I
I was
don't know what
just
you're
thinking.
talking about.
I was just talking about the charity work we'd all been doing, and
Oh yeah. After church, yeah.
the adoption program we're running for three-legged puppies, and thinking about the Lord.
It was
Man,
yeah, it was good.
man, I was trying to figure out that bubble behind you until I realized it's Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up I was looking for my Mid-Journey pictures. I sent Les some Mid-Journey pictures of my characters. I'll pull those up in a moment.
I thought
So
those were pretty good, man. Midjourney's pretty good. I have it in I use it quite a bit. But it's got some strange weak spots, especially for poorly defined or rare. So I'll give you an example. I tried to not too long ago, I tried to ask Midjourney to give me some pictures of guys from the Affront, and I said, using Ian Banks' Succession as a model, draw me a picture, deliver me imagine a picture of the Affronter, and they nowhere near it. I mean, it was like not even close.
Give me a jellyfish carrying a bazooka and having an eye patch.
I probably would have gotten something better there, but a space jellyfish carrying a bazooka with an eye patch, I think I may have to try that later on to see if that works. But no, it was not even close. And then I went to chat.
Business or personal?
Well, then I went to Chat GPT and I said, can you write me a prompt that will work with Midjourney that will describe this creature? And it wrote me something, and I tried it, and that didn't work either. So I don't know that we're.
And Chat GPT merged with Dolly 2, so you can try it with Dolly 2. Gives you different looks.
Oh yeah, I could try that, because I haven't used Dolly for a while. I don't know. I've been using Chat GPT for some stuff that I've been working on, and it's pretty good. But I don't know. It's less of a replacement and more of a time saver.
Right now we're all working the generative stuff, which goes into the big collective pool. What we want next is the interactive one, where it becomes your collective personal butler, and that's what they're working towards now, is the interactive bots that can upgrade itself, yes, by collecting the other data sources, but it really is customized to you and your personality.
Yep.
So for you, Les, you'll want someone to talk trash to you 24/7.
That's what I need. That's what I need in my life.
You got a Colonel Tide must beer going on there. Nice.
Yeah. What do you think? Pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. What'd you say, Don?
Who else hates the new Bing feature where they're using AI rather than just giving you the search results you wanted?
Well, those of us who in search marketing hate it. We don't want you to use that. So
yeah, we don't like that. That's on our list. I did get a Chat GPT plugin for Chrome, which is a big pain in the ass. So because it puts its stuff right at the top. So and you're ready to click something, and all of a sudden ChatGPT will start talking a blue streak about stuff, and it throws all the search stuff that you were just going to click on downward. And I'm just like, really? Are we really doing this today? So sometimes I just
yes, they are.
So, anyway, welcome to Traveler. It's been a while since we played Traveler. I think our last Traveler game was, and I hate to even say this, but I think it was July. That the last time that we played Traveler. In fact, if let me take a quick peek here at
the DM.
Yeah, he's a dumpster fire, that one. Hold on a second. I think it's July, but let me check.
Well, look at it this way. At this rate, Traveler will last forever.
Yes, okay.
Old folks home will be we're playing Traveler.
Our last game was July 18th, so we are August. 2 months since then, since we had a flight, and so it took me a while to sort of, and even your hardworking dungeon master has to go back and refresh himself with the blood of what has gone before, so that I could figure out what comes next. But there was a lot of stuff happening last time, so. The last time we played was the finale of the space battle outside of Cymbeline Station. You guys, we jumped right into it at that point, and you guys were firing. And that space battle I felt went pretty good. I have to throw props to Don on that. He really sort of stage managed that. He's the Starfinder space combat expert, and I really appreciate his help on that. So thank you again. But I thought it went really well, and it seemed like everybody had a good time. So. We have to talk about tonight before we get properly started, because there's a lot of things going on. But really, the question of maybe the first hour that we talked tonight, maybe longer, depending on how long you guys is, where did you guys go? So at the end of, well, sort of actually in the middle of last time, you guys defeated the Constab interceptors and reached the Lagrange point and jumped, but we never really talked about where you jumped to.
As
So
I
that's
recall,
probably
we decided to jump to a system that could take our stuff that wasn't the system we were going to go to. Somewhere we could still sell the gear, but where they weren't expecting us with a mana stuff.
well, it certainly was discussed, right? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of things going on, right? So your cargo is headed for Gleezy 570, a place called Mukakan or Mukadin, something like that. So let me just I'm punching it up here. Let's go ahead and scooch over a little bit so we can get for Pete. There we go. All right, there's Mukaldeen. That's where your cargo is. We've got 73 tons of live animals and stasis and another 2 tons of pharmaceuticals headed for Mukaldeen. Mukaldeen is a fairly benighted place. But it's a little bit analogous to Tufik in certain ways, in that this is a system that was colonized by disaffected Terrans for the most part, who decided that they wanted to live their lifestyle away from the general run of the Solamity, and went there for those reasons. Unlike Tufik, if Mukaldeen was cut off from the greater sort of volume and did not have fairly regular supply runs, that would be a problem for them, because the system is not nearly as productive as for example,
self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient as Tufik. Tufik has had sort of the
Tupac.
Not Tupac, Tufik. Tufik. Here, right below Cymbeline. So yeah, you went to Tufik, and it's one of those things where it's in a weirdly sort of orbit locked position where the conditions were just right to make Tufik itself, the planet that they refer to as Tufik, as largely a perfect for agriculture. But Mukaldeen does not have that kind of situation. It's hamstrung by a couple of things. One, it's a 4-star system. It has a quaternary star, so gravitational issues are abound in this place. And 2, the planets that are there just simply do not have the requisite wherewithal to be massively productive on the scale that Tufik is. So you guys are one of many ships that are that bring things to Mukaldeen, supplies and stuff like that. In this case, you're talking about live animals and medicine, so imagine the needs for that. That said, as we talked last time, the reality is that everyone at Cymbeline Station knows that that's where your cargo is destined for. So I think there was one point where it was like everybody was, people, if we were like imagining the people in Cymbeline going, surely they wouldn't go there. That'd be crazy. No way would they think about that.
We know they're going there. They wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't do that. That's nuts. So there's that. So you also talked about going. There was some other talk about going to Loki and trying to unload things there. Loki is an affronter system, largely populated by aliens. Very few humans there. So you're like, well, that's probably not going to work out. But you could make your reacquaintances with the Affront. Your thought is, at least from that point of view, is that you're nominally friends with a senior colonel in their military. In the person of Seventide, you guys personally have good relationships with them, and affronter space might be a good place to hide. Certainly Tyla is in no position to come after you if guys hang out in an affronter space, and you can make it work. The other side of that coin is they don't really have any terraforming going on. They live affronters live in a very different type of world. They breathe very different type of gases. You would be in your ship most of the time if you guys are going to hide out there. But one thing to keep in mind is Loki is on the way to a 4-jump route to Mirabilis. You can see by that purple line there. So you guys have a jump 3 ship. And you have fuel for 4 jumps. You are fully loaded with fuel. So theoretically, now it would take a month, but you guys could hotfoot it from Cymbeline to Mirabilis. It will take a month's worth of travel, but you suspect that you would be protected. Well, you hope that you would be protected by Spofulam from Tyla at Mirabilis, since Spofulam has basically set you on this course. You have resources there. Palmer's there. You guys could. There's a reasonable expectation that you could be protected legally from Tyla. Because keep in mind that you guys, at least 2 Tyla dead, 3 if you count the guy that got shot at the Tyla Legal, the security guy that got shot at Tyla Legal offices and died there. Although that's
by Coffin Doyle, I don't know that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, you could reasonably probably pin that on Coffin.
Yeah,
it could be pinned on Coffin. So, but the 2 guys that, the one guy at the dock and the other guy who was flying the interceptor. Yeah, I don't know that there's a way to pin any of that on you, on anybody else but you. You got a message out to Wem Yamazaki, but you guys are in jump space. But largely there's the idea of, where are you going to go? There's, a lot of things. There's a lot of things happening. That said, once you guys got into jump space, you basically called Smitchy to the carpet and said, all right, we've got you away from Cymbeline. You're alive. And there was some loose talk about, you guys talked outside of Smitchy's earshot about turning him into Tyla or spacing him or turning him over to the Ursae or various other things that would almost certainly result in his death. But you guys hadn't made any decisions on that. Well, Smitchy certainly had an interesting tale to tell. And I don't know if you guys remember that story. I can go over it if you
maybe
want.
Hit us with the highlights real quick.
Well, basically, he said he was hired about a year ago by the Ursae. He says, look, I've come up through the ranks in Tyla, but Tyler's in no way a method for getting rich. He goes, Cymbeline I was assigned as the Tyla overseer for Cymbeline Station. As you can see, Cymbeline from this map, you can see Cymbeline is out of the core worlds. So basically, he got an Alaska post. Right. So he's like, that's no way to get rich. And the Ursae came to me about a year ago and said, we'd like to hire you to sort of rubber stamp our transfers when we stop here on our way to Kukulkan. And over time, Smitchy, who has, is a fairly resourceful guy, and generally speaking, found out a lot of things. Basically, the reason that they needed somebody in Tyla to rubber stamp their transfers is so that they didn't have to worry about people finding the frozen scientists in their holds as they were kidnapping these scientists and taking them somewhere. Smitchy didn't believe they were taking them to Kukulkan. He basically said, look, I found out about the existence of a deep space station, not in any system, that the Ursae had set up for specifically this purpose. And then he talked about the greater story, which was about 4 years. So over the Ursae were sort of discovered, for lack of a better term, by the Terrans about 150 years ago, and they were sort of they had been doing some very limited sort of intrastellar space flight. They had some technology, and they basically were brought in, but they were easily the newest and least capable, frankly, starfaring race within the local sphere. Tara walked him in, said, okay, now you're a member of the club, welcome. But Tara had always sort of, the Terrans were always sort of worried about the Ursae because they come from a militaristic society. And it's interesting when you look at the races here, almost all of them are inherently militaristic, predator evolved races. It turns out that non-military races that don't regularly engage in wars throughout their history tend not to develop spaceflight, which is weird, but that's the way it is. So you've got the Terrans for one, you've got the Affront, you've got the Kzinti, you've got the Vegans, now you've got the Ursae. All of these races essentially are evolved from essentially predators, and are, at least in large portions of their history, quite warlike. And
so every war has shown leaps in technology in things. I mean, not just the World War I, World War II, but every war before then.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
and
Well,
that's why.
yeah, it is a prime mover. And so the Ursae, this is around the same time that the Affront started to go to war with the Kzinti. And the last thing that the Terrans wanted was another warlike race on that side of the galaxy getting involved, and was already a shooting war between two highly militaristic societies. That the Terrans were desperately trying to keep from turning into a volume-wide war, and so they've sort of kept the Ursae down. They haven't provided them with the kind of technology that they've provided other races. They've sort of always kind of treated them as a little bit of a younger stepbrother, who they like. The Ursae don't like this, and so they have been always looking for ways. What they had done was they had begun looking into some methods by which they could, once they received jump technology from the Terrans, from the Cymbeline, they essentially began experimenting with it, and with the idea that they could potentially improve it, make it work better, make it work faster, that kind of stuff. They were specifically looking for opportunities to avoid the gravity well problem. The presence of gravitons in a jump field causes problems, which is why you have to use Lagrange points before you do jumps. But they were also looking at cutting down on the time that is required to traverse certain distances. Right now, depending on your jump engine, is how far you can go in a week. What they were looking for is technology that would allow them to jump 2, 3, 4 parsecs in an instant, and then jump right back from a from a standpoint. What that would do would make them, having developed that technology, would make them incredibly powerful. The idea is, I mean, imagine trying to stop a fleet, a war fleet that jumped into your system, released all of its ordnance on your primary planets and space stations, and then jumped back out moments later. There would be no defense against such a military
There
power.
could be no defense. That's the Miyagi attack.
It's the Miyagi attack. So they were working on that, and what Smitchy admitted to you is that he found out is that about 4 years ago, he thinks that they made some sort of breakthrough in this technology, in that they had discovered, if not a practical method of doing this, at least a theoretical model of something that might work. The problem was they didn't have the scientists to do it. They didn't have the science. They needed specialists. And that's when, about 2 years ago, they began kidnapping what they would consider alien scientists, Terran primarily, but from other races as well, kidnapping scientists to work on this project. And they kept them. And it was considered to be a massive secret, right? You couldn't let this thing out. Smitchy said he had heard of at least one purge where the scientists who had been kidnapped were attempting or plotting to release the information that they were working on these new jump drive technologies. Basically wideband it to the rest of the volume. And the way Smitchy heard it was that the Ursae moved in and simply executed at least dozens and perhaps hundreds of scientists, both kidnapped and Ursae scientists who were involved in this plot, and started from scratch. That was how tough they considered the secrecy on that. And then, but also they found something in jump space. There had always been talk of creatures that lived in different dimensions, and there had always been sort of these legends, space mythologies of creatures of different dimensions that would. But according to Smitchy, the Ursae, in their experiments and their work with jump space technology, actually not only discovered that these kind of creatures exist, but were able to make contact with them. And because of this, they were the technology that they were developing was being was moving exponentially forward with the assistance of these essentially jump space creatures, intelligence that were there. Now, beyond that, Smitchy didn't know much, but he believes that these creatures exist, and that the Ursae are talking with them. And then I think someone, it might have been Matt, said, well, if the Ursae have opened the door to see and visit with and speak with these creatures, what's keeping them from entering our dimension? And the reality is you don't know.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And that could be it. I mean, you have no, you have no information as to what the Ursae are doing, other than, according to Smitchy, they are using information provided by these creatures to rapidly move forward with their jump space technological goals.
Yeah, well, basically, like we're here as simple gray market merchants, let's say, not quite black, not quite white, but we've stumbled upon a sinister plot that potentially impacts all living things in our little galaxy, our little home in the galaxy.
Yep.
And it's worth more than our lives if we can't figure out how to capitalize or divulge this information to people we can trust, who can then take action on it. I don't know who we can actually trust at this point. I trust Palmer, but I don't even know if I trust the Tyler Corporation, not the Tyler Corporation, the Spoffulam guys.
I think we need to find the location of the research and have another purge.
Wipe it out. Well,
Yeah.
so there's a couple of things to keep in mind. So you'll remember that when you first met with Spoffulam, and they first offered you the opportunity to sort of work in the field for them to try and put a stop to the kidnapping of their scientists, they said they had some images that they had recovered from one of the scientists that turned up dead, and they were able to get their lace and recover some images from long-term memory.
I remember those from the very first couple times we played. You showed us those images.
Yeah, and those images were not of soothing. Some of them were downright odd and strange. So that's, I mean, from your point of view, those images may have been taken at this deep space space station. Smitchy also talked about how his life was forfeit, that these guys, the Ursae, are, well, if they're willing to purge a bunch of scientists that they have gone to a huge amount of trouble to acquire, think of what they'll do to one Tyla guy from the hinterlands who's now spilling his guts. He's like, I can't go back. If I go back and tell them that I told you everything, they'll kill me for obvious reasons. If I go back and tell them that I didn't tell you anything, how could they believe me? And that's where you guys started talking about what the Ursae think of you guys. And there was a lot of confusion about who you guys were, because basically you guys just materialize on the scene. You, I don't know, what's the word? Dekidnap one of a scientist that they got. You attack them.
We requisitioned
the guy. So, and they're just like, they've investigated you. I mean, there's information on everybody out here, and they've checked you out. You guys are supposedly just, a freighter, the crew of an average sort of interstellar freighter ship that, makes money by working the periphery of the Cymbeline cluster. Why you've gotten involved in this, the only speculation, at least from Smitchy's point of view, is like what I've heard, is that they basically think that you represent some other interested party, and you're trying, that somehow has found out about this, and you're trying to steal whatever you can about that technology. About what, basic corporate spies trying to acquire what the Ursae are trying to protect. And so
Right.
You're on their blacklist. So plus there's other people who definitely dislike you, Kickbandiers, Chimera, that kind of stuff. That said, what Smitchy's job was, what the Ursae asked Smitchy to do, was basically to capture you guys and then deliver you to a ship called the Penny Dreadful, which is about 2 parsecs away from Cymbeline. Well, the meeting place is about 2 parsecs away from Cymbeline, and it's noted in this red square. Right there, red hex right there. That's where you're supposed to meet the Penny Dreadful, deliver you guys to a Captain Lamont there, who Smitchy says has worked for the Ursae at least as long as I have, and probably longer. But he's human, but he's basically the Ursae's go-to guy when it comes to getting things done. And Smitchy was supposed to make an arrangements for you guys to be dropped off with this guy at his ship for reasons that he doesn't know and didn't ask.
Do we think that that guy could possibly be sitting at those coordinates? 'Cause
Well,
we now
here's
have
the
an armed ship. Maybe it's time to pay them a visit.
here's the thing. You guys have gone into jump space. You guys have to be headed somewhere, and it can't be there because you guys didn't find out about this
Got it.
delivery until after
Until
you left.
after.
Right.
Which is why the primary question to talk about tonight is, where did you guys jump to?
Well, where could we go that would avoid my stalker?
Chimera? I don't know. Well, so Chimera's, according to Smitchy, Chimera is with Lamont on the Penny Dreadful, or she was.
I assume she's trying to do a seance now to get Coffin Doyle back so she can kill him again.
She wants to kill him again. So it could be that she was waiting for her prey to come to her. But the way the time frames work is they're going to miss the rendezvous window 3 days before you guys come out of jump. That means they'll have 3 days of sort of looking at each other going, where did they go? But they'll use at least one of those days or a couple of those days to head to Cymbeline. And when they get there, they're going to hear an interesting story. Now, they won't know where you guys have gone, but
Yeah,
they'll
we
know
don't
that.
know where we've gone, so how can they figure it out?
Well, yeah, but they'll know that Smitchy is with you, and they will assume that he's basically turncoated. They have to assume that either you've kidnapped him, or he is turned traitor to the Ursae.
Why can't it be both?
Yeah, porque no los dos.
Hades and Dismal are sounding pretty good right now.
I say we deliver the livestock.
Like
They'll
nothing
never-
wrong.
They'll never expect it.
They'll never expect it.
Yeah, but once we get there, even if they don't expect it, there's got to be somebody there that's going to go, hey,
We're not
Chimera.
sticking around.
Dismal is the home system of the Affront, just so you know.
Yeah,
Well, it sounds delightfully dismal.
And Hades is the home system of the Kzinti.
yeah. I say Dismal over Kzinti. I don't think we want to pay the Kzinti. I don't think we want to pull the Kzinti into this just yet. They're the one
I
race
guess-
we haven't messed with yet. Plus, I think we still have some contraband tiger penises on here. I'm not sure we want to show up.
They're not contraband. They were coming
Yeah,
across.
I bet you they are in
legally.
Kzinti space.
Yeah, it could be taken badly, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those tigers were
They
sort of
donated their
Kzinti
penises to
stand-ins.
science after dying peacefully and naturally. I mean, Jesus.
Yes, my child. All right. You still with me? Or you got quiet?
No, you guys were talking. I was not interrupting.
I am processing. Where did we say we were jumping to?
I don't know if we decided.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I
the
think
thing,
That's the conversation right now. We're trying to figure out what we should say. I'm all for a front space, or I'm all for another place where we drop, farm animals off. I'm sure if we could convince our pal Seven Tide that frozen cows can be just as dangerous as mutant tigers.
There
if
we
he
go.
if he wants to hunt them, like, oh yes, this is the ultimate predator on our planet. The frozen bovine. Come out and
What-
eat your face off, man.
So for some reason, Andrew, I cannot send you an in-game
whisper?
text. Yeah, whisper.
I blocked you.
Here, why don't you tell me
Permanently.
and then I'll tell him.
No, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Let me try something. I was
You
trying
have to
something.
you have to address it to Dr. M. Wagner.
I
Yeah.
tried that. It's not. Well, maybe this will work.
I'm gonna try to take Tamar to bed, and then I can fully hear you. I'll be right back.
Okay, yes.
Okay, good. All right, sounds good, Eric. That did work. Okay, weird.
You want us to sing to tomorrow? Smart, he left.
Nobody wants me to sing to any child. All right, so I'm going to send you a series of messages, Doctor.
Okay. Hmm. No. No, it's not permanent. Hmm.
Hold on. Okay. I'll just put the rest of it in one so you don't have to deal with individual messages. So of course you can keep this or to yourself or share as necessary.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. I just gave it to everybody.
Ah,
Don't look at it.
Fucking roll 20. I swear to God. Anyway, there you go. So you guys are thinking Affront space might be the place to go?
Yes.
So keep in mind that 7 Tide is one guy in an entire fleet. And while he likes you, the rest of them may not. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back. I left something somewhere.
You're gonna
Can everyone see the private messaging?
end up with a
I haven't read it. Should I?
Oh, I
saves
think
him from
I
having to
would,
tell you.
is Dr. Wagner, I would share it anyway. I don't know why Jen thinks I alone should see it. Maybe it's HIPAA or something like that.
You're the one doing the scans. So whether or not you share that information is up to you, is what it is.
Okay. I would share it. That's not something that Wagner would hide. In fact, he would go, "Hey, the surgery operating or the operating room is sterilized and ready for use."
Knock them out and remove those things.
Yeah. Well, do we want to ask him about it first?
what's their
Nope.
purpose?
We don't want to activate them. We don't want them accidentally activating them if we ask about it.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. What's their purpose?
I don't.
There's a power source behind his kidney and a power source at the base of his skull. So, what do they power?
Well, some kind of shield. It's
Some sort of shield. It could generate a
Field.
shield approximately 1 meter in diameter. It might be a
All right.
like a
all
force
right.
field or something like that. I say we knock him out, remove him. When he comes to, we ask him about, hey, what were these things?
okay. But that still doesn't determine the question of where our destination is going to be.
I think we go back to Terran.
Well, I think if you guys don't go, there was that one sort of really rural area that was kind of off the grid that
Oh, with the
might buy the
fungal stuff?
livestock. Yeah, that might buy the current fungal that might buy the current payload
Livestock. They
I mean,
might.
it seems like the stuff isn't going to last forever. So if you
We are heroes there.
So if you can go there and offload it and make a little
Sorry.
bit of money, then you can kind of pick the next step after that's been taken care of.
The less Dr. Wagner shared that information with the rest of the crew because any excuse to operate
Okay.
cause for celebration.
All right. What do you
so-
tell him?
I tell them our scans indicate that you've got an illness that's serious but operable. I'm going to have to take you to the operating theater and put you under anesthesia for a while, but your prognosis is excellent after this procedure.
You're telling that
That's
to,
what he
to Smitchy. You're telling that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, without really giving him a choice, he's being walked to the operating theater.
Well, he's like, wait just a minute. I feel fine. There's no reason to perform any surgery. What are you talking about? This is ridiculous. I refuse. You can't perform any surgery on me. That's ridiculous.
Well, I asked for my assistant Mallory Graves to provide some anesthesia.
Ruh-roh.
I hand him a spoon.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
Bishop started to walk
Mallory has
forward.
no idea about the spoon thing.
I know.
And you know, I guess coffin, you reap what you sow. Mallory will come forward, and he's gonna escort the gentleman to the operating theater.
So you're just gonna grab him and just sort of frog march him in there?
What choice does he have? He's going to die without the surgery.
You know, sir, it's for your own good. Please follow me. And yeah, I'm gonna frog march him. I kind of have a bad feeling about this. There's something
Okay.
here, but yeah, actually, you know what? Hold on.
Well, I've shared with you the message I got from Jen.
Got it. Yeah. Sir, we're going to have to insist it's for your own good. Now, will you please follow me and the doctor?
This is ridiculous. I don't want any medical attention. I feel fine. There's no reason for you to do this, and I suspect this is some manner in which you will be attempting to go back on our deal. You imagine that I've heard you, but you spoke right in front of me about dropping me off at some certain titles and things like that, and I won't put up with it. No, unhand me.
Actually, sir, we are definitely not going to go back on our deal. I am an honorable man, and you have given us information that could possibly affect a great part of the known civilization. And so, of course not. Now, the doctor says he has detected I'm not sure exactly what I'm not a medic, so but it sounded very serious. Will you please follow us?
Well, I'll need to see whatever evidence he's talking about. I'll need to see some of this.
While he's being spoken to by
is
a
ridiculous.
head housekeeper.
What did I miss? I dropped. I accidentally resetted my computer. Started my computer.
Oh, look at the.
They're
chat.
sending Smitchy in for surgery.
Why?
It's an affront. I mean, a literal affront, not the actual guys.
Why are we sending him in for surgery?
Biological scans have found an illness that can be operated on.
Okay, like for a real one, not a.
No, it's a huge lie. Everybody knows it.
Okay. Why do you want to steal parts of Smitchy here?
We'll tell you later
read
after
the
we.
chat?
We need to keep him
Yeah.
sweet, don't we? Why are we?
Yeah.
So while
He's
Yeah,
resolute.
Matt-
He doesn't want to go in there. He's seen Dr. Wagner in action. And
Look at
the last thing he wants to do is end up on your table, man.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's
Well,
seen the tiger penis collection.
He
he
knows why that woman's angry with
not
you.
only seen but tasted it.
He knows why that woman's angry with you. What's her name?
So while he's being distracted, I inject him with.
You're gonna inject him? Oh, you're gonna sneak up behind him and inject him? Okay, all right, cool.
He doesn't have a choice, but
Why?
our housekeeper did a good job distracting
Hey,
him.
Matt, look at the chats in Roll20.
The donkey space lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
So
Well, so here I can let me put the whole thing in chat since I freaking bitched it up anyway.
So I mean, honestly, Dr. Wagner just wants to check it out in this case. And if there's nothing there, there's nothing there.
I'm reading this as a potential homing signal.
So, yeah, basically, Jin reached out to Dr. Wagner and said, look, I apologize for intruding, but something's come to my attention I feel like I ought to share with you because it's potentially a medical issue, and I wanted to let you know. As you know, I do periodic scans of the ship, the crew, and any visitors per the captain's orders to ensure that we don't have another repeat of that incident. Remember when the invading creature came in and I was looking the wrong way and he got in and all that kind of stuff. And then I was doing a recent scan after we jumped and I discovered something that is both curious and a little disconcerting. As I was performing a routine scan of Mr. Smitchy, I discovered a couple of things that I feel like I should tell you. He says the first one was a very small, about 1 millimeter in diameter, power source located behind Mr. Smitchy's left kidney. The power source is very small and would easily be overlooked or even shielded due to the electrochemical reactions that normally take place inside of a human body. But since my scans are specifically designed to seek out non-chemical power sources and jump space signatures, I was able to see this. And basically Jin would go on and say, look, it's probable that Mr. Smitchy doesn't even know it's there. Implantation could have been done with something as that small. It might have been a particularly painful injection, or some other dermatological effort that might have embedded it. It is quite deep though, and it is tucked in behind his kidney. This is a space that would normally be very difficult. It's in a place that would be very difficult to notice. The second thing I found was a larger thing, approximately a centimeter in size. And this is definitely a field generator, and it's located at the base of Mr. Smitchy's skull, attached to the top vertebrae, which is called the atlas vertebrae, near the brainstem. I've done some preliminary calculations, Jin says, and it could probably generate a field of about 1 meter in diameter, considering the power source and the size of the unit. This is very small, but the reason I mention it is because if that field was generated and came into contact with, I don't know, delicate hull circuitry, or some other vulnerable element of the ship, it might be damaged in a manner that I can't predict. So he goes, I bring it to you. And then Andrew, you told the crew, the rest of the guys, right, about this.
Mhm.
Did you tell them the truth, or did you go with the disease story?
I told him the truth. I
Okay.
mean, any excuse to operate is, and if I can get support, is a good thing.
Okay. And then they corked up this, you're a very sick man. We need to get you on the table right now. At which point Smitchy's like, oh shit, not Dr. Wagner's table. You don't mean that one in there, the one with all the blood on it. So yeah, Smitchy is not going quietly.
Well,
I guess.
you know what? I got Smitchy. I got a little too thick ale over here. Why don't we just calm your nerves a little too?
He's wide-eyed, because at this point you guys have approached him and said, you're very sick, you need to come to the operating theater right now. And Mallory's manhandled him a little bit. It's like kind of pushed him around like, you're coming with us, big guy. And the doctor is already sort of snapping on rubber gloves. And, frankly, if it was me and Andrew was snapping on rubber gloves and Eric was pushing me into the operating theater, I might be a little nervous.
It's near the base of the skull. I'm going in rectally.
Oh, God.
Hold on, I'm writing that down.
Gotta make this snapping of the rubber glove.
We're all going to space hell. Cat, go. Get, go.
Well, if you insist. Bye, guys.
All right, so Smitchy is basically like, unhand me, sir. He's looking at you guys. He's like, look, I've given you everything you want. This is why do you think you'll do this? I feel fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I've done my own scans through LACE, and my body is in perfect health. I don't know what you're saying, but I know that it is fabrication of the worst sort.
I've already anesthetized him.
All right, so to do that, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna sneak up behind him while Mallory is sort of punching him around, and you're gonna do one of your erased memory things, or
Just inject him with that general anesthesia.
So wait, Dr. Wagner's got erased memory things? How come I don't remember this?
It's called.
You were part of it.
That's because you haven't used that flashy thingy on me, have you?
Yeah.
No. Really?
No.
Yeah, Dr. Wagner has a flashy thing. We call it vitamin K. All right, so to sneak up behind him and give him a substantive injection, he's quite alert to that possibility. So that's a pretty high DC.
Yeah, but
However,
Mallory has grabbed him by both wrists and said, "You need to come with me, sir. This is for your own good." It's not like I have to sneak up stealthily and.
oh, so Mallory just tackles, is holding him, and you're just like, I've got the,
Manhandle him. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I need 2 checks. First one is for Mallory,
Sure.
to basically tell me how you're just going to grab him and hold him.
Not brutally, but
So gently hold him.
Lovingly.
hold on.
Spoon him. I'll be the big spoon during the surgery.
Eric is not a tactical combat guy, but Mallory would know some things. I would think there must be some Marine Corps way to stand behind a person and constrain his arms without breaking his neck or hitting him hard.
Okay.
I'm thinking of
I'm
the
not
master
trying to hurt him. I'm trying to just relax, be still. Everything is fine. Just hold still, sir. Hold still, sir.
It's going to be
Hold still,
okay.
please.
You're only making it worse for yourself.
Let it happen. Fly back and think of England. All right. So I'm going to say, I want you to do, I'm looking at your special abilities and your skills, and I don't see anything. It's mostly defense rather than attack, from your attack, but you are, a thing. So give me so you have edge and might. So I would say probably a DC 8 roll, and if you use the edge, that brings it down to a 5 for you to successfully sort of trap this guy. If you blow the 5, it means that he's sort of wriggled away from you.
Gotcha. I'll use the edge, and can I use more?
You can spend some might points if you want. The first point gets you another 3. After that, it's 1 for 3 at the first, and it's 1 for 2 thereafter.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I'd
one.
use the points. If you don't succeed, we point a gun at him and go, "It's for your own good."
You know what? I don't want to go down that road.
Okay.
What I will do is use 1 edge point and 1 might point, please.
Okay, that brings it down to a 2, a DC 2. You got to roll if you roll a 1, he wriggles away.
And I roll a D4. I'm sorry, D20.
Yeah.
D20, yeah.
D20. All right. I'm gonna just roll a plain D20 here, and I roll a.
I think you're safe. Eric's never rolled a 1 before, so.
A 7.
Oh, 7. Okay, yeah. So Eric slips around him very deftly, and Mallory slips around him very deftly and sort of grabs him and has got him in sort of like a headlock, and he's like, "It was the Dukes. It was the Dukes." Andrew, I think, are you aiming for a particular vein, or is it one of those like any fat soluble region of the body will work?
Pretty much. It's a pretty high powered but safe.
And does this render him it renders him unconscious, correct?
It paralyzes him.
Okay, so he will be conscious. It's
Until
not
I get him to the operating room, sure.
All right, so it's a paralytic. All right, so you're hitting him with an injection paralytic. I'm gonna say
you have terrible nightmares while you're performing the surgery. Paralyzed while you're
that's what I want you
no
to feel.
anesthesia.
I want you to feel everything. All right.
I could knock him out, but I felt like it'd be more fun to just paralyze him.
And that's why everybody's afraid of going to you for medical help. All right, so give me a D20 roll. I think this would be well within your capabilities, especially since he is ruined. But roll it. If you get anything but a 1, it's successful.
I can live with that.
If you get a 1, you accidentally inject Mallory.
Great. Oh man.
Who stiffens and falls to the floor.
I was saying rolling the dice and out there.
7, another 7. All right, yeah. So no problem. So Mallory, you see Dr. Wagner come up. He's got a smile on his face, the likes of which you really have never seen up close before. And he pops that injection in there and then stands back, admiring his handiwork, and you feel Steve sort of go limp in your hands. you as you sort of slide him, I'm assuming you put him in sort of like a chair or a local couch or something.
Yeah, sure.
Or if, you know, faculty, you probably could drag him back into the operating theater and lay him on the
You know what?
table if you wanted to.
What I will do, I'm gonna throw him over my shoulder and drag him, carry him into the operating table and lay him into the operating room and lay him down gently
Okay.
on
Okay.
the table.
Nibbling on his
Now
ear.
we should probably restrain him.
Oh,
Can I at least get, I don't know, I don't really know if we have handcuffs or
Oh, we're talking business or pleasure there, Mallory.
Can it be both?
Weber's like, here, use mine.
Yeah.
Use mine.
Now I know their fur line have polka dots on them, but they are effective.
I don't remember a cow in MST 3000.
What I'll do
Remember-
is, you know what, if Smitchy is knocked out, what I'll do is I'll stand there and I'm gonna keep an eye on things while the good doctor does his work.
Okay, hold on. They're purple.
I'll even invite you to help.
on them.
You know what? No. I have no. I'm not a field medic.
So you lay Smitchy down on the table in the surgery.
Yes, sir.
And you can see his eyes are wide open. They're not moving. They're sort of looking straight ahead, and you can see a little bit of drool coming out of his mouth.
Okay.
But you think
Sure.
that he might still be conscious. I mean, he's staring. His eyes look like he is well aware of what's happening to him.
Okay. You know what, doctor? Can we give this guy some real anesthesia?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
absolutely. I just
I'm gonna drink to
the
forget
paralytic
this whole thing.
works faster and it can
Got
be
it.
injected anywhere as opposed to the general anesthetic, which has
Got
to
it,
be
got it.
done in the vein. So yes, he will be fully anesthetized.
Okay, Mr. Keeve, we're gonna take a little nap, but you know what, sir? I assure you, it's going to be fine. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna feel a lot, but better.
Weber's gonna look at Mallory and go, don't let your mouth write checks your promises can't catch.
we have no idea what Dr. Weber's going to do to him,
Yeah.
or Dr. Wagner's going to do to him. All
But
right,
also,
so
I would say, is there a way maybe to paralyze a power source before you try to cut it out? Because I can't imagine anything. Anybody who's sophisticated enough to put this into somebody's body, seems like they would have countermeasures for you taking it out. Just my thought.
well, according to oh, sorry, go ahead.
Not a doctor.
That may be beyond, I have to check my stuff, but that may be beyond my knowledge or capabilities. I can remove it, but that doesn't mean I know what it is and can control it.
So remember that Jin basically said there's two items in there that I discovered. The first one is very, very small. That's the one that Jin declared to be a power source, had a power source, but quite small. And almost, normally you would think it would be undetectable. I think it's telling also that Smitchy has lace, and one of lace's, frankly, one of its like sort of baseline duties, like solitaire in Windows, is sort of keeping an eye on sort of bodily functions and allowing people who have lace to exert a certain level of control. In this case, Smitchy
Like you had a very satisfying bowel movement. Compared to all the rest of your bowel movements this week, we gave it a 98% regularity rate. Thanks, Lace.
Bravo. And there's a little on the screen, it's like those little stars go up.
Yeah, exactly. Poopies.
But Smitchy said that he's done scans. His lace tells him there's nothing wrong. So whatever is in there, it's not showing up on his internal lace scans. But the power source is quite small. The other one, which Jin feels is the more dangerous is the field generator. Now it's a power source, but it's not big. The size of it is quite small. And you guys are those of you who are technological will know that field generators are the same things that do force fields and stuff like that. There's a variety of different fields that can be generated. Graviton fields is probably the most common one that allows shuttles to land in a gravity well, for example. You have a field generator that exerts a graviton field. It counteracts the naturally occurring gravity of a planet or a moon, and it allows a soft landing for a shuttle or a spaceship or some sort of craft. This particular field, this field generator, you don't know what it does. Jin says that it generates a field of about a meter in circumference, which is really, from your point of view, almost too small to do anything practical. But the fact that it's embedded in the back of this guy's neck, that's not great.
It could be a personal force field.
It could be, but it wouldn't cover his whole body, is what Jin's saying.
Right. I'll offer, or I'll ask the doctor if he wants me to assist.
Insist in what?
Assist in the surgery. I'm an EMT and I also understand technology.
Sure. I mean, I do understand computers. I've been trained in computers, but I don't know how helpful that is. So sure.
Okay.
All right.
And I've also got see-through deception. So
identification. I'll go in and scrub up and get ready to help with the surgery.
Okay.
Along with my computer stuff, so I can try to hack these things and turn them off safely so that they can be removed without consequence.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of time. I'm assuming, Wagner, that you make good on your promise to anesthetize Key appropriately.
Yeah,
that makes Mallory a lot happier.
The last thing he sees is a bowl of tiger penises on the table next to him. What's going on?
Matt, what the hell happened to you?
I didn't say what I was going to do once he was anesthetized.
No, you've been anesthetized, Les. You clearly are hallucinating.
I gotta stop drinking, and I'm not drinking though. Wait a second, I'm totally sober. I'm drinking this blue shit.
Is that the stuff that Luke Skywalker squeezed out of that weird nipple?
What is it? Antarian whiskey, or what do they call it in Star Trek? It's blue.
Oh,
Romulan ale.
Romulan ale. Okay, yeah, that's
Romulan
what
ale, yeah, there you go.
What? Sorry.
I was
It's
thinking the one where
blue
Luke's
and apparently very powerful.
Yep, that's somebody slipped me a Romulan ale. All right, so what do you guys want to do? You've got Smitchy on the slab. Bishop and Dr. Wagner are going to perform the surgery. The rest of you are going to watch or
no, I don't want to watch.
Screen?
I have a weak stomach, so I'm gonna set after the thing. I would just say that we should have a contingency if it is one of those multi-dimensional technology pieces, that we should have a strategy on how to either contain it or blow it up or get rid of it. Like, do we have a little stasis capsule or something we can put it in? Then would that keep it from?
Well, Jin says his scans did not show any subspace signatures. So he's not necessarily suspicious that these are extra dimensional. In fact, if anything, they look quite terrestrial, but in both manufacture and composite, what they're made of. But I mean, I suppose it's possible. If so, they have not as yet emanated any jump space energy. Any jump space?
I think we just want to figure out if they're nefarious.
All right. So you perform. So what are you gonna remove first?
Probably the power source. I mean, if that's what I suspect, or what Jin is pointing out is powering the field, then I'm going to remove the power source first.
Okay.
Well, maybe I should just get rid. Can I see what the relationship is? Like, can I see if you cut this wire, it explodes, it self-destructs?
Well, so you can, that would be more like a Bishop kind of thing, but you can see the power source is very small, and
I do find it though.
Oh yeah, I mean, so the unit itself is about a millimeter in circumference.
Pretty small.
In diameter. It's very small. The other one is larger. It's about a centimeter in diameter, but it's not emanating any power. The smaller one is the one that Jin is saying is a scannable power source. The other one he recognizes as a small field generator because he's familiar with that kind of technology. But in this case, it's too from Jin's point of view, this field generator is almost too small to be practical. But it's not, and he's worried about that because if it is activated in some way, and Smitchy happens to be standing next to, I don't know, some delicate circuitry or something like that, it could the ship could be damaged in ways that Jin says I can't predict, depending on what this field does. Different fields do different jobs, but this one seems too small to be practical. And even as Bishop pointed out, it generates about Jin estimates that a field generator of this size generates a field of about a meter in diameter, a sphere about a meter in size.
So
That's really not practical. It wouldn't even cover all of Smitchy's body.
How shielded or how safe is the OR from what could possibly happen?
Well, it depends on what possibly could happen. If the field goes off, it would depend on what that field is supposed to do. If it's a graviton field, you might see a bunch of metal instruments fly into it, like an MRI machine. If it's some other kind of field, an energy field, a jump space field, that could have other ramifications. And right now, you don't know what kind of field that this thing generates.
So I guess we don't know what the power source is exactly, but we do know that there's a field generator. So maybe that's
correct. Bishop, let me see what you got
here. It could be
here.
a kill switch, but I say it's more likely it's a homing device so they keep track of their merchandise and their personnel.
Bishop, give me a machine interface hacker check, would you?
Okay, so it's been a month or more. So I get
Oh yeah, everybody's to full.
Everything computers trained is -2 on the DC.
Correct. Yeah, trained is 2.
Okay, and then machine interface, if I spend 1 intellect point, then that's negative what?
That's -3.
Okay, so that's -5 to DC. And before I spend edge or what have you, what is the DC?
DC in this case is 15, so you've brought it down to a 10.
Okay, so if I spend edge, what's that?
That's another 3. So that brings it down to a 7.
Okay, so I'll go with that.
All right, cool. Everybody's rolling 7s tonight.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
What'd you roll?
A 2.
Oh, 2. I see it. Okay. Yeah, you're not sure. From what you can see right now and what you can interact with as far as ship's computers and some of the tools in the surgery, you cannot confirm or deny that the small power source behind the kidney is working in conjunction with the field generator, or they are 2 separate entities that do different things.
Okay. So I guess now I'll step it up.
Okay.
And use hack the impossible. So I'm gonna try to figure out a way to interface with the power source to try and shut it down safely. So we can just take it out. So it's -2 for trained, and hack the impossible costs 2 points. So that's minus what?
That's in this case it'll be -6.
So 6, 7, 8. And if I use edge, that would be another 2.
That'd be another 3.
Another 3. So now,
11.
Now it's 11, right? But that would make the difficulty a 5.
4 in this case, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try that then.
All right.
15.
15. All right. Yeah. So with Dr. Wagner's assistance, you insert some probes into the kidney area of Smitchy, and you utilize those your technological expertise and those probes to get to there and essentially turn off. So you it's not really turn off. You separate the small core of power. Essentially, it's a tiny chip of radioactive material, fissile material that's in there that's powering it, and you manage to separate the channels through which that fissile material generates electricity and powers the thing. Quite small, quite delicate, but you managed to do it. It is now depowered.
When
The
I was
fissile
doing that-
material is still working. It's just not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
When I was doing that, am I able to determine what this is?
This particular check was only to do that, but you'll get a bonus if you want to investigate it. You would probably be better investigating with it outside of his body.
Let's extract it first. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell the doctor it's no longer generating. He can remove it safely. And then I'm going to keep it so I can figure out what it was.
Doc, it's a DC 15 medical check to remove this thing from the kidney.
I like the old rules, right? I couldn't fail.
You could actually, so you can apply enough points to ensure success.
So how do I do that?
All right, so you have skill in medicine. You are skilled in medicine, and that's -3. You can also,
Edge in intellect.
yeah, you've got edge and intellect, so that's another -3. That's 6 down. So you're down to a 9 or better right now. Then you can use, let's see what else you have. Not erase memories, not scan. Then you can burn intellect points. So for every 1 point that you burn, well, the first point of intellect that you burn, what are we down to? 6 from 15 is 9.
3. Right.
Is 3. So if you burn 1 intellect point, that takes the DC down to a 6. If you
6.
burn another, it drops at 2 points, which brings it down to a 4. So if you pay 2 intellect points plus your edge plus your medicine skill, you'll bring it to a 4 or better.
Okay, I'll do that.
And you can, and so just so you know, you can keep burning intellect points. If you get it to a 0, essentially you get it to it's automatic, but you have to pay for the points.
Okay,
Right.
so how many
Here's-
points do I have to subtract from my pool?
Right now your pool is 25.
Right.
And you're burning 2, so just 2, and you're using up your edge.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind also when you do these things that you guys are in jump space. We still haven't ascertained where you're going, but you guys are in jump space, which means you are essentially undiscoverable and safe.
If you burn all your intellect points to get a 0, you'll recover that by the time we get anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how many intellect points do I have to spend?
4 intellect points will take you to 0
Okay. Let me
with your edge and your skill.
Okay. 4 intellect points.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm still not stupid. I'm maybe a little woozy. Okay. So there you go. I'm at 0.
All right. So your pool is down to 21 points.
Right.
But you deftly extract this millimeter size, and it looks like a little cylinder from behind Keith Smitchy's kidney. You don't damage any of the kidney, the veins going and arteries going into the kidney itself, and you sew him back up easily and with skill.
Well, hang on. There's still the field generator.
Yeah, but it's a different part of his body.
Right.
So okay. So I also have training in computers. Do I have any idea?
On what the power generator thing is?
Yes.
I mean, it's very small. So
Can I discern any more than what we already found out?
Potentially. I mean, yeah, sure. Why not? You want to go ahead and roll a computer skill? The train, so trained would be -2 on computer. Go ahead and give me a roll.
Sure.
15. That's pretty good. All right. So, let's see. How do I do this? All right. What you would understand from a quick examination is this thing is reminiscent of some things that you've seen in the past. There is one thing in specifically is back when you were working at a planetside hospital they had a section in that hospital that was specifically for criminals, people who had been convicted of crimes and that kind of stuff, but who needed medical attention.
That's
Because
Don's character.
That's where you met. That's where you met Gawker. No, but when you were working there, you did work with some of these. You did perform surgery on some of these people. And what you remember and what this thing is reminiscent of is when they entered the hospital, they were injected with a small GPS tracker, essentially, that kept tabs on them and could be accessed from a variety of consoles to make sure that these guys didn't go on walkabout.
I was speaking my thoughts out loud, so Bishop heard all of them.
Yeah, I'll just have him put it in a sample tray.
Okay.
And close it up, and like I said, I'll go back and investigate it later.
Okay, cool. Now, the field generator. It's at the top of the atlas vertebrae, which is the topmost vertebrae. It is nestled there between the mastoid muscle and the vertebrae itself. It's actually attached to the vertebrae below the base of the skull. So it's sort of shielded in there by two wedges of bone, essentially. And it's put in subcutaneously. It's behind the muscles that people use to sort of do this. Those muscles in the back of your neck, and it's underneath.
Underneath the muscle, but above the vertebrae bone.
Yeah, you're, at least from the initial x-rays and scans that you're doing in the surgery, it looks like it's been attached to the bone with some sort of biological adhesive, maybe.
Like crazy glue.
Yeah, it hasn't been fused with the bone. It looks like it's just been attached there. Yeah, crazy glue.
Gorilla glue.
Oh, gorilla.
It was a biological.
The
If it was
gorilla
a
in there.
biological solvent, it would have been mom spit.
We
Yeah,
have no
it's-
chance of removing this. It's attached with Gorilla Glue.
It has defeated everything, all the technology we have. You're pretty sure you could saw through the adhesive, though.
We'll have to take the
Or
vertebrae.
his arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna remove it.
All right, this one's a little bit more delicate because of all the big nerves there, spinal column, various vertebrae, and that kind of stuff. This is a DC 22 surgery to remove this thing. Now you've used your edge, so that's gone. You can still use your skill, so that's -3, so you're down to 19. Your initial, if you want to start using intellect pool, your initial pool application is 3, and then 2 for each point thereafter.
So I'm at 21.
No, you're better than that. You're at 19 right now with your
What?
skill. Your medicine skill takes it's a DC 22. Your medicine skill takes it down to 19. So you're at 19 right now.
Okay, so we'll be
So you'd need 9 total points of intellect to take it to 0.
okay. As long as we're just, don't have to do anything before we leave jump space.
No. You'll be able to rest immediately after this for
All
as
right,
long
so
as you
that
need.
takes me down to 12.
Okay. All right. But yeah, it takes a little while. This is about a 2-hour surgery. And Bishop, you're in there, and at a couple of points, Wagner is taking advantage of the auto dock, but he's also asking you, bring me that thing over there, the one that says ketamine on it. I need that, that kind of thing. And he's like, inject it into my arm.
He's just he's just doing the Dennis Hopper blue
yeah.
velvet mask over his face.
From like Mad Max,
Dennis Hopper and blue velvet.
Bring me that tank of laughing gas over there. It's that one. Just bring it over here with the mask. But yeah, after about 2 hours, the small 1 centimeter sphere is deposited bloodily into a sample tray. Bishop, you are mightily intrigued by this thing because you can see that the fact that Jin has told you it's a field generator, and you're familiar with field generation technology. It's large. You use, for example, field generation technology to interface with AI personality cores.
Right.
So, but you've never seen one this small, and frankly, you're unsure of its function.
Right. So once that's out and in a sample tray,
Mhm.
I'll help the doctor close.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go off to whatever passes for a Tron lab here.
Okay.
and start investigating these pieces of
We
technology.
upgraded our medical suite for a lot
Yep.
of money, so
Yep.
we got good facilities.
Yeah, the facilities, the medical facility, I mean, it has some direct probe implements that are GIN enabled and things like that. So yeah, probably the best place is to stay in here. There's
Okay.
also, did you guys install shielding? It's just an idle question, doesn't mean anything. In the walls of the surgery?
Yeah, of course.
We pay
Of
top
course it
dollar.
is. Yes, yes. Lots of shielding, tons.
Okay.
So
Tons
much
of
shielding.
shielding. That's what I love about this game, asking awkward questions like that. Okay, yeah, no, I mean, you would continue in the surgery doing that kind of stuff. So what are you looking to do? Try to find out what this thing does?
I'm gonna try to identify both of these. And the one of them that I successfully shut down,
Mhm.
I should get bonuses for.
Yes, definitely you will.
And then the other one, he was able to remove it as
I
is.
removed him. What kind of bonus do I get?
What do you want? I mean, you
More than-
removed them. Your job's over.
Well, and I helped identify more about that.
That's
I'm
true.
running-
That's true. You could assist.
Okay, and I want to state that I'm letting you examine them, but anything I remove from surgeries are mine. That's the most important piece. You can look at them, but they're mine.
I have
Okay.
no interest in these.
Oh, now.
Except to
but
except
maybe
to
later.
figure out what they are.
Okay.
Cool.
Have
All
at it.
right. Dr. Wagner, you are going to use computer to assist Mr. Hawk?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, give me a computer roll. We're gonna manufacture a thing here. So it's DC 10 to assist, to provide an extra +2 to Bishop. With your trained in computer, you need to do an 8 or better to provide him with assisting information.
Jeez. As punch drunk as I am, I have to roll an 8 or better on a D10.
You could use intellect to reduce that down, but you're already below half of your intellect.
You're already, yeah.
On a D20.
I'm on a short bus right now. All right,
Can he like do in like Pathfinder where he can get support from other players?
That's what he's doing right now. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I
Okay, well.
Oh
let's
no, Andrew's
It's
the one doing the supporting.
He's
that's
doing
a-
supporting, right?
do
That's
it.
a D. No, go
It's
ahead.
a D20.
Got it. I see.
You have to
Oh,
roll
you
you
it.
roll
roll
a
a
D10.
D20. I rolled a D10.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just double it.
This is your intellect pool at work.
Durr.
Natural 20. All right. So in the event of a natural 20, that's a major effect. That's going to give you double the add. So that's +4. So to your point, Bishop, you're going to get +4 from Dr. Wagner, who you were surprised to find is quite erudite when it comes to understanding of computer systems and things. He comes from an organic systems construction philosophy, but it is valuable. So you get +4 for that.
That's -4 to the DC, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Then -3 for trained.
That's right. So 7.
All things machines. So it's -7. And then what's the DC for identifying the first piece?
Which are you talking about? The smallest one, the one that you managed to
Power source.
okay. So the DC there was 15, but you get a bonus, so you're already down 7. That's 8, and the bonus for already having worked with it is 2, so that's down to 6. So the application of intellect points you would need.
And then there's a machine interface.
Oh, okay. Machine interface. That's 1 intellect point. That's gonna. Oh yeah, that's gonna be very helpful. So that's 3. Another 3 right there. There you go. Yeah. I mean, you're down to a 3 or better.
And if I spend 1 more point, it's automatic.
That's correct.
So I'm gonna make it automatic.
You're gonna make it automatic. All right, cool. All right, so this is and we're talking about the little one, the 1 millimeter thing. This is a very sophisticated, to your eyes, tracking device. The microcircuitry in there is complex. It's also quite different in structure and design than what you're used to, and it takes you a little bit to parse it out. But essentially, this is a tracking device, and it won't track in jump space, but outside of jump space and terrestrial space, this would be something that would probably have a range of several parsecs. It is a
And
powerful little tracking device.
And
Could be
right
used to our
now,
advantage.
right now it's powered down, right?
It's the power core is separated from the actual mechanism, so there's no power getting to the tracking. So it is off.
Right. So it won't work as a tracking device
Mm.
when we pop out of jump space.
Correct.
But
It will.
if
It
this-
will not
if-
ping.
Currently.
If this were turned back on,
Yep.
it'd start
Um,
working again.
Just to be safe, I recommend draining the capacitor.
Well, maybe they want to. I mean, you might have use for a powerful GPS tracker.
Capacitor.
Well, no.
Dude,
so,
how
like-
old are you?
Okay,
That's his clever. That's his
That's
clever
so
euphemism when he's
used.
heading to the head. He's,
Okay,
I'm gonna drain the
Boomer. Thanks
capacitor.
for thanks for the tech
So-
advice.
Okay,
Go back to your
Boomer.
room.
so when your smoke alarm detector starts beeping and you change batteries, if you take the
Smoke
battery
alarm
out,
detector.
you can still press the test and it'll sound a little bit because of the capacitor in it. It still holds a little bit of a charge even after it's disconnected from its power source.
Yes, Grandpa. In 1992.
Les, next time we're drinking together and I have to use the restroom, I'm gonna say I gotta step away and drain the capacitor.
Hey, you look at modern logic boards, circuit boards, there are still capacitors on them.
Yes, there are.
I meant to say, when back in my day,
Yeah.
today,
Okay, Boomers.
Sure,
You
Grandma.
know-
Let's get.
You know
Boomer.
best. You know
I'm
best.
not
you do,
old enough
you
to be
do
a boomer.
you. I just have this experience because of things.
Okay.
Okay, Grandma. Let's get you to bed.
Get
Yeah.
you to- By the way, have you looked at my new disguise or my new look? I've been a Kazinti spy all along.
What the hell is going on there? How are you doing this?
There's an avatar feature in.
Part
Yeah.
of Zoom, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You could.
let's
you could,
all
we-
put on an outfit, damn it.
You can customize avatars so each time you play a different character, you can have a different face on
I
that.
don't have any of this. What are you talking about?
All right,
Yes, you do.
All right, Boomer.
the
We'll
ne-
teach you soon.
When
the next piece of technology.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that's a little different. Still looking for the avatar feature. So it's different. It's larger. Obviously, it's a field generator, which you're familiar with, but you've never worked with a field generator of this size. DC, identifying DC is a little higher on this. It's a 25 to get to that. So what are you gonna use? Well, so first of all, let's ask Dr. Wagner. Do you want to assist again?
Yeah,
Okay. I need you to roll so it's a 10 to assist. You're trained in computers. That brings it down to an 8. I need you to roll another 8 or better.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So, all right. So,
Wow.
Dr. Wagner, so first of all, let me just say, Bishop, you are impressed with how cognizant Wagner is about computer technologies and their application to some of these things. Dr. Wagner is not talking about capacitors in any sense of the word. He's got sophistication. He's not talking about 20th century tech here.
knows nothing about capacitors though.
He knows nothing about capacitors. Again, that's going to double it and bring it to +4 his bonus, which brings you to 21.
If I use Hack the Impossible.
Hack the Impossible, 2 points. That's going to be 3 apiece. So that's going to bring it down to 15.
And then in order to get the one more brings it down another 3.
Yes, probably use. Well, it depends. One more intellect point.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. One more intellect point brings it down another 3. That's a 12.
And so in order to, and that's the highest level hacking thing I have. Then in order to bring it down any further than that, it's going to be
Each
1
point-
for 1.
1 for 2. Each point that you spend will give you 2 points off the DC. So in this case, you would have to spend an addition to take it to 0. You would have to spend an additional 6 intellect points.
Okay.
By okay, do you mean that you're going to spend 6 intellect points?
Yeah, I want to make
Alright.
it. I want to make it automatic.
Okay. The moment you realize what this is, you take a step back really quickly, because it becomes, once you start parsing this and you're looking at the piezoelectrics and things like that inside it, it's definitely a field generator. It's not a graviton field generator. This is an energy field generator. What this would do, a 1 meter energy field this is a weapons field. Energy fields are typically used with weapons, like impact weapons, like a field generating missile.
Okay.
Somebody implanted what is essentially a cortex bomb on Keeve Smitchy.
Jesus.
So it is a kill switch.
It's a kill switch.
Yes.
Yeah, the size of this thing and the placement would basically would essentially vaporize everything from the bottom of his sternum upward.
Right.
But
Does he
why
need
has
that?
it been used? Like
What-
you'd think by now they would have went, ugh, get
Yeah,
rid of Smitchy.
they wanted him dead. You would have think that they would have activated
Right.
him.
Well, they can't activate it in while we're in drift space.
Right, but he had it in him all this time.
Right.
So does any of my exploration or investigation of this thing tell me whose technology this likely is?
Give me a skill check, machines identifying and understanding. You're trained, so it's -2. So I would need a 8 or better, unless you want to burn some intellect points on that.
We're
one
looking
too.
for a made in stamp on the
Yeah,
certificate.
Right.
Hecho and Mexico kind of thing.
All right, I'm going to spend 1.
Oh,
Okay. That brings it down to 6. Or sorry, 5.
5.
Forgot how to count.
I guess I'll go with the 5 and see what I get.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, you have no idea. It could be Terran. You're not super, I mean, you've never built a field generator, you just use them, right? So it's like I could drive a car, but I can't necessarily build a car. So yeah,
Well-
you're not sure if you're specifically trying to identify this as Ursae technology, you can't. There's no particular indication that this was alien technology versus Terran technology.
right. Rolling dice sucks. From now on, I'll just make everything automatic. And
You're just gonna zero it out. I can see you guys are gonna collect up a bunch of like questions, then go on a jump, and that way you have tons of time to relax. You're just like, I'm gonna throw away intellect points like it's out of here. I don't care. I'm just gonna go back in my stateroom and rest for 10 hours. Get them all back.
Pretty much. All right.
All right, but yeah, this
so-
is essentially a field generator that is a cortex bomb, essentially, and it looks like, at least from Dr. Wagner's point of view, it looks like it's been in there a while. There's some small scar tissue that has been that is built up around it from the musculature. Dr. Wagner, your estimate would be that this is between 9 and 12 months old.
Do we have any containers on board that shield communication frequency so that if the kill code's sent, it won't get to the device?
Sure, yeah, bigger than you even have some that are bigger than a meter.
Well, no, we
Means-
just need one big enough to house this little thing.
Okay.
And then it won't blow up if it can't get the signal.
Yeah, you have stuff like that down in the hold.
So I would suggest that we contain this that way.
Put it inside a frozen cow. We have a bunch of frozen cows in the.
Now, it's fine that it's yours, Doc, but if they send a command to it, it's gonna blow the fuck up. So you might want to put it in a safe box. And
No,
leave it there.
no argument.
It's basically a giant capacitor.
Right.
And
Come
if
on,
they
Grandma,
ru-
let's get you to bed.
And if they run electricity through it backwards, it explodes.
Right. Which may be useful later.
Give it enough time, you could rejig it.
Hey, look,
Well, yeah.
tiger penises are going to come back around. Trust me.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah,
These
and I can-
these
I can
fads,
re-
they come and go.
I can repurpose technology, so I could turn this into something else as long as I don't roll as shit as this has been, but
Yeah, one's not great.
Yeah.
Goes off in your hand. All of a sudden you're everything up to your shoulder, vaporizes essentially. But yeah, somebody put a cortex bomb in this guy about 9 months to a year ago.
Well,
okay.
And it was put in such a way that it avoids detection via neural
Most
lace.
detection, right?
Yeah, and frankly, you would probably need a pretty significant body scanner. Normally, something like so. You guys will. Who's the most Weber? Give me Weber Jix. You're probably the most nefarious among all of these people.
I am the calmest voice of reason amongst these rapscallions.
Says the
What do you
biggest crook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am here to make money and chew bubble gum.
Look at all your skills, and I don't know. Weber, just give me a quick D20.
1d20 for you, sir.
8.
A gentleman's ocho.
So years ago, you were around a guy who had you were back when you were in the military. You actually weren't present, but you came later of a guy who had was killed by a Cortex bomb, and you remember, you're racking your brain, but you can remember the guys who had like discovered him were having some idle conversations about the nature of Cortex bombs, and the one that what you remember them talking about was the typical Cortex bomb was small, but it was comprised overwhelmingly of explosives. In this case, there was some sort of flaked chemical explosive that was used in this case. Blew his head clean off, but didn't vaporize anything. It was a huge mess. This is not that.
I remember you talking about. You're talking about Guerra. Yeah, you know, old Sergeant Guerra.
Sergeant Guerra, yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
He got.
Way to go. He got.
So do we have any idea in terms of timing where and Smitchy was, what he was doing that in the period that implant was put there?
Well, we could wake him up and ask him.
We can wake him up and
do
ask
we
him.
know enough about him to maybe
I don't think he knows about it.
He
I know
did
you
mention
don't
during
think he knows about it, really? Do we know where he was or what his situation was in that time period?
No, but we could ask him. I don't think we'd have any idea unless we have some sort of. I mean, maybe Jin can log into.
Well, were we hanging out with him then?
8 months ago? No, we only met him 3 days ago, didn't we?
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. You guys only met him was maybe what, about a week ago when
Feels like
he
at
asked
least
you
2
to come
months.
down to.
Yeah, when he tried to.
Yeah,
get
it
us
feels like a
killed.
long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to get you guys to come down to Tyla to sign some documents. That was your first interaction with him.
Okay.
Yeah. I never trusted bureaucracy ever since. Them government folk always
For
trying
the
to
4
screw me
days. 4 days since. Then you got to do a big
So he's
gunfight.
closed up and
Yeah,
ready.
he's recovered. The anesthesia's not going to wear off for several hours. But you do remember, those of you who were there last time when you guys were listening to Smitchy's story, and when he was telling you what the Ursae are up to, he said that he started working for them a little over a year ago, which to your eyes might roughly coincide with the installation of this thing. It's not exact, and it's certainly not an exact science. You would, you could opine on the rate of accretion for scar tissue on mastoid muscle degradation, and whether or not the adhesive used was causing some sort of irritation amongst the myelium of the muscle shroud.
Look, we
that
know
kind of
you
stuff.
have a $5 vocabulary. Just give it to us straight, Doc.
It could be around it's within plus or minus 3 months of when he says he started working for the Ursae.
Thank you. I'll send you your $5.
Thank you.
Most likely this is an Ursae thing. Whether they made it or purchased it from someone else who made it, it's likely that they're the ones who implanted it in him.
Yep. And they did it in such a way that it would be invisible to his lace scans. So which would seem to intimate that he didn't know that's what he had in his head.
Yeah.
I feel like that all the time.
Tell me about it.
So when he starts bitching, when you wake him up, you can be sure and show him the Cortex bomb that was intended to vaporize his up from the shoulders up and say, this is what you had in you, bro.
Yep.
Can I ask you real quick? Of many of you are the same age. You guys remember an old Ricker Hauer movie called Wedlock?
Vaguely.
Yes. Was
Yeah,
it
so-
Mimi Rogers?
Yeah, so the gist is you're in prison, you all have these explosive devices around your collar, around your neck, and you and another prisoner, if you get with a random prisoner, you don't know who it is, get within 100 yards of each other or something like that, you're both units detonate and your heads get blown off, but
Yeah.
you don't know which one, right? So you want to stay, you're basically caught in prison because you can't leave because you don't know who the other prisoner is, but he figures out who his compatriot is. But all through the movie, he's doing ridiculous things like she's in an elevator and he has to dive out a window to keep level with her so his explosive neck collar doesn't go off.
Right. Yes.
Oh, Rutger Hauer, you gave us so much.
He
You and
did.
Roddy Piper.
Wait, is
I mean,
Rutger Hauer dead? He's still alive.
No,
He passed away.
he passed.
Oh my God.
Why wasn't I told?
It's time for you
You're
to get
told
bourbon.
now.
You're
Ah.
yeah.
I should have been informed at the
Yeah.
time.
It's time for you to get a bourbon to wash down his memory.
He died 4 yeyears ago. Where the hell
Yeah.
was I?
It's like those people who send you like Harry Morgan just died from like 2011. You're like, dude, he's been dead a while. Like my mother.
Apparently,
Harry Morgan.
you haven't been on Facebook. That's where you've not been.
That's true. I deleted my Facebook account
Yeah, because
Me too.
out of principle.
they're definitely all about telling you who died recently.
I have not deleted mine out of apathy.
The age-old conflict between principle and apathy.
I haven't deleted mine because that's where they post all the fucking bowling tournaments, and I have trouble keeping up
Good
otherwise.
point.
Wait till they perfect this avatar technology. Like when somebody's not here, you can just throw their face on and pretend it's you or them. Like I could be
I'm still
Captain
trying to
Plaza.
get I still want to get a screenshot of me just looking at the thing like this, which is my normal look during a meeting, and then just put that up there and I can do what I want. But
Yeah,
it's recently go ahead.
there was somebody I worked with at IBM who perfected that. She would be like really bubbly at top of the call, like, "Hi everybody, great to see you all," and she put a smile on her face, and then she would screenshot that and then freeze it and then just go off camera. And this is years before we all started using Zoom on a regular basis.
Awesome.
She was
people-
a genius.
Some people are just working on a whole nother level.
Yeah. You like call attention to yourself and then fade back.
We in the meetings that I've been going to, there's been a lot of turning off mute, first block mute, second block camera off. So I've been in meetings where everybody but the speaker is muted and camera off.
Yeah.
We've had some trainings lately that have been really bad, like 90 minutes of Asana training. Brutal.
Wow.
My God.
Wow.
I'm crying for you.
It's absolutely brutal. And there's another one coming up, like advanced Asana training. Like I give a shit.
I work for Brad, so he can't handle it if somebody's off camera. He will immediately call them out.
You don't like it?
No, he doesn't like it at all. He wants to see the whites of your eyes.
I'm gonna tease him next time I talk to him. All right. Well, Rutger Hauer is indeed dead. I've just checked his Wikipedia. So thanks for telling me, guys.
Still dead, everybody.
Still dead.
Thank goodness Les checked in for us.
All right. So you've managed to extract these things from Keep Smitchy. He's gonna be out for another couple hours. The rest of the crew, are you guys doing anything? Weber, Tam, Mallory, are you guys just tucking into the thing? Wait a second. We still haven't figured out where we're going. Yeah.
I'm checking eBay for implant prices.
We almost ran the clock out too. We were almost there, guys.
We're almost there. We're not
Where's
almost there.
the
We got
go?
a ways to go.
Front space, is that what we're thinking?
Well, oh, you're not talking to me. Never mind.
I was talking to the boys, the gents.
Where should we go?
Space.
The
Can
final
somebody
frontier.
think of an I know a guy here?
Um,
I know,
Go
guys.
back.
I know a
What's the general?
guy who
Who
buys
enjoys frozen
animals.
bovines? Yeah.
Well, if you're thinking about reconnecting with the Affront, keep in mind a couple of things. One, you only know a couple of Affront guys, and the only one that you really call an acquaintance or an associate of any sort would be Colonel Seventide of the Defenestrator. The last time you guys talked to him, when you guys were on his ship, was in this orange circle right here. Now he might still be there. You'll also recall that he blew up an Ursae ship for fun. So
Yeah, I get it. They play hard.
yeah, he might yeah, this is the kind of thing they enjoy. So, I mean, if the Ursae are looking for you, and this Penny Dreadful comes hunting, by hook or crook, it could be that you having your ship next to the Defenestrator is something good. But heading into their home systems, just sort of jumping in there, I mean, you might not be automatically destroyed,
Okay,
but
don't show up like the Avon lady. Like make an
yeah.
appointment. Okay.
Yeah, you're probably going to want to talk to the people you know.
Well, the Avon lady,
That said, you've got options. The other thing now, the problem is, so in this red square, is where Smitchy was supposed to deliver you guys. So at least up to about 4 days into your trip, that on the 4th day of 7 of your jump, that's where the Penny Dreadful is going to be, because Smitchy admitted that they'd made plans for him to deliver you to Captain Lamont of the Penny Dreadful at that location at that time. But you guys cannot go there because you didn't know about this until after you jumped. So we do have to figure out where you're going. Now you're a jump 3 ship, so basically you can go in any direction 3 hexes.
Let's
And
go where Shamira is not.
You
I
don't
like
have
that.
you don't have to go to another system either. You can go to you can. It takes about 4 hours to recalculate jumps after you come out of jump, right? So so the calculations that Jin and Tam do to lay in a new course and set all the things to get ready for jump space takes about 4 hours to complete. And then you could jump again. Now, people routinely jump into deep space, do their calculations, and then jump back. That's how you do multiple jump destinations. Right. That's what would get you if you wanted to go to Mirabilis, essentially undetected, right? You would jump to the purple line. You jump to Loki system. There's affronters there, but the reality is, unless you wind up next to them, they're not gonna, they're probably not looking for people jumping through Loki. So and you're only gonna be there for 4 hours. They're not gonna care.
Right. Where's the place that had the fungus?
Tufik.
Tufik, right? Yeah. So you guys know people in Tufik, and you could probably unload the cargo there.
True.
Right, and they kind of like us because we saved them.
Yep.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, you're
So
definitely in good with the elders.
How many cases of Tufik ale can we trade for a frozen
When
cow?
we get there, let's kind of let the authorities know, hey, listen, we were framed. If you hear these reports about all this stuff about us doing it, we didn't.
Well, that's sort of the beauty of Tufik, is they're not going to hear any reports. They're an agricultural
They
society.
don't keep up on much stuff, right?
Yeah.
Old
That's
Jedediah.
that's my vote. My vote is Tufik.
I'm just the doctor. Whatever you decide.
I'm going to grab a drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah, throwing out for old Rugger.
So if you go there to sell the cargo that you have, they're live animals, right? I mean, they're in stasis now.
They're in stasis, but they're live animals. Yes.
Okay. So what do you think about the idea of implanting that GPS into a cow?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, but there's 2 reasons we can either use it to send them on a wild goose chase, or we can use it to lure them to a specific spot where we have an upper hand, right?
Right. And I was just thinking of wasting their time flying out to the middle of nowhere agricultural planet. And that would sort of be more time they're not actively looking for us because they think they know where Kiev is.
Wouldn't it be funny if we delivered all that beef to the vegans and left the tracker there?
You get a drink for Rugger?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf, so I have a little ginger ale. I'm trying to cut back a little bit on the booze.
Okay.
Wise man.
Why not?
Yeah, it doesn't feel wise. I feel like I really should be increasing my alcohol content. But
I'm gonna pick up your slack. Okay.
All right. What do you got there?
White Claw.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking White Claws. I was ready for you on that one.
Santa Claus.
Ain't
Yeah.
Oh, I was drinking White Claws.
What's in White Claws? Is it like vodka?
Malt liquor, isn't it? Done?
Like a Zima?
It's repurposed Zima.
Yeah, repurpose Zima. Yeah. It's Zima for the Southern gentle.
Zima.
Yes, it's like Zima
You
with fruit flavors.
You weren't with us long enough.
Yeah. Zima tastes like shit.
I don't think I ever drank. I don't think I ever drank a Zima.
I did.
I always had a sort of a general idea that it tasted a little bit like vodka 7-Up. Is that accurate?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
a very bland vodka 7-Up.
Yeah, it tastes more like club soda.
Without the
Tastes like club
vodka.
soda with a weird aftertaste.
Ugh, okay. No, I don't miss it then. All right. So, Tufik.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Hey, Les, regardless of where they tell me, I'm piloting, so we're going to Tufik.
I'm taking you straight to Tau Ceti to the big Terran legal authority thing there. All right, Jin, we're logging in for Tufik. All right, so you guys left Cymbeline, headed for Tufik. A quick short jump still takes a week. But in this case, I think you guys, well, this wouldn't work because you guys were on the run. So you use the jump drive to go to Tufik rather than steaming out there because it's actually pretty close to Cymbeline. What did it take you guys to get out there before? It was like, and this is on the shuttle, so it was like, what, 40 hours or something like that?
Yeah.
So it's not, you guys didn't like rush away. The good part about Tufik is that they do not generally have a lot of contact with anybody. When you guys went there, it was at Sergei's behest because he has relatives there. But it wasn't, I mean, you guys remember the shuttle pad, it was hardly anything. That kind of stuff. So you guys jump out there and you find yourself in the Tufik system and you park in orbit over the planet, and you do begin. Go ahead.
Could we not bring our ship to the planet? Last time I recall, we had to take a shuttle down.
You have to take a shuttle, yeah. So that's due to the nature, not so much of the planet as the gin and tonic.
Okay.
The gin and tonic was built in orbit and is not designed. The hull structure,
landing, right.
Yeah, it's not designed to land. You can't land the gin and tonic. That's why you have a shuttle. That's why you had the slice of line.
Yep.
All right. So, but you do come into orbit around Tufik, and after about an hour or so, you get this sort of crackly sort of radio transmission from the surface. It's like,
yeah, orbiting ship. Please identify yourself. You are orbiting the planet of Tufik. And you please identify yourself.
and it's like this really scratchy, shitty radio. They obviously got
It's
going.
old, yeah.
They've got a guy outside holding the antenna, pointed at you guys, and, that kind of shit. It's really scrubbly, but you can hear him. And Jin's like, I can aug back that transmission a little bit and bounce it, and he cleans it up a bit. And basically, it's a transmission from the surface, from their main town, their main city, and they're asking, who you are and what are you doing here.
This is where I'm going to find my next. Weber is going to find his next ex-wife who's on this planet. He knows it. I'm a super strong, petite lass.
Well, the women of Tufik could
Definitely
be
a
called
bartender.
many things, but Pete is not necessarily one
Weren't
of
they
them.
tiny? I thought they were like
They're not well. They're short, but so keep in mind that
stout is what you're going with there.
Yeah, Tufik.
My gal's a sturdy woman. Okay. got it.
Tufik's gravity is just a shade under twice Earth normal. Right. So the people who live here essentially are short. They're stout and they're well muscled.
Are they teapots?
Well,
they're teapots.
Hey,
I'm 2 out of those 3, so I'm part Tufikian, I think.
Mr. Jakes, while Captain is sleeping, sleeping off
Mutiny?
another bender, you're in charge, so you get to answer him.
All right, Roger. Over. This is.
Roger over.
Yeah. I was watching too much airplane lately. Hold the mayo, put ham on fries. All right. So like, yeah, Tufikian surface. This is the gin and tonic. Might remember us from our
You might remember us from
endeavors,
such
yeah,
films.
such film, Troy McClure. So from our endeavors here on the surface recently, we brought a cargo to you. It's not quite scheduled, but it's I think of great use to Vicky and society. Wanted to see if we can make a deal.
All right, so these are the guys you dealt with primarily while you were in system last time. Was Rikus Grunwald and Pete Herndon. These were the two elders, primary elders of the sort of religion.
Well, then I would say Riker and Mr. Grunwald and Mr. Hilden or whatever. It's me, Weber Jix.
All right, they tell you,
Hero
Mr.
of the
Jix,
people.
Mr. Jix, give us a moment. We need to confirm who you are, and then they go silent for about 20 minutes. You don't hear anything out of there, and then you hear this like crackly thing again, and it's like, Mr. Jix, Elder Grunwald has a question for you.
Oh yeah, go on, Pete, or what's the other guy's name? Riker.
Rikus and Piet. And he said Elder Grunwald, so this would be Rikus. This is the senior most guy.
Yeah, what do you got there?
Has a question for you. What happened at the farm?
Which farm?
You only went to one farm.
We only went to one farm.
We found it was overrun with what are those things called? Cordies. And
The only undiseased guy was in the barn, locked in the
yeah,
barn.
it set fire to it, burned everything we could.
All right, there's another like 5-minute wait, and then they say, "All right, you're welcome to land."
Yeah.
Good to see you, Mr. Jix. Welcome down. What do you have in the way of? You said you had a cargo. What do you have?
Oh, we got both. What do we got? Cow. I guess we got livestock. I'll just tell them we got a indeterminate types of livestock. 70 tons of it. Looking to see if we can make a deal.
Oh, please land. We'll discuss it as soon as you get down here.
Okay. I can't remember what else we have. I know it was frozen
70. Yeah, medicine is the other. 2 tons of medicinals, of variety of types. Dr. Wagner would say this is basically is essentially first aid kit shit writ large, right? So it's like basic pain relievers, analgesics,
So
anti-inflammatories.
So I'm
So
always
if you're
looking to make a deal.
planning Woodstock 4, we
Okay,
got
well,
your stuff.
Well, if that doesn't sound too expensive, so maybe to sweeten the deal on these livestock, that we just throw in the first aid stuff for this society for free. They're always short on
Oh,
medicine.
never throw in anything.
Hey,
Make 'em bargain
I'm
for
doing
it.
the deal there, Doc. Yeah, you cut people open, I make the deals. All right.
All right. All right.
so-
So yeah. So you can't move the car. So here's a problem. The cargo is, I mean, you got essentially 75 tons of cargo. Your shuttle, the Slice of Lime, could potentially hold 2 tons of cargo, which means that
Very.
to download this, to get this to the surface, to get the entirety of the cargo, you're talking about shuttling back and forth approximately 35 to 40 times.
Okay.
Which you can do. I mean, the fusion reactor will work fine on the Slice of Lime and that kind of stuff, but it's going to take time.
Well, I assume there's got to be something else in orbit, right? That they this is not the only delivery they get. They had to have some sort of system.
No.
No.
They're self-sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah, well, so that's the deal with these guys, is that they're largely self-sufficient. They live on an agricultural planet and they really don't need anything, but there are certain things that they want. And in this case, it's usually very informal, right? You guys, when you guys came here, it was at Sergei's behest. He's basically like, look, my uncle lives on Tufik and I want to send him, and he's asked for this medicine. And you guys got caught up in, because it was, the cordyceps issue, and that's what the medicine was for.
Right.
But that was a very sort of, and they were trying to keep it very hush hush because they didn't want it to get out, because they export foodstuffs, but they don't usually import much of anything at all.
You guys need wives. We have cows. Let's make a deal.
you're Dr. Wagner, the Tufikers are going to love you. But yeah, so it'll take some time. I mean, those many shuttles, and you're going to need essentially you're going to have to offload the cargo into vacuum and transport it over to the Slice of Lime in orbit and then shuttle it down. So you're talking about you could probably go, and that's just you guys, because these guys don't go into space.
Right,
So it's not
right.
like you can recruit a bunch of two-fickers and slap some vac suits on them and turn them into stevedores. They're not going to do that.
No, challenge accepted. No, wait, okay, keep going.
Just so depending on who wants to hang out on the surface and who's going to do the actual donkey work.
Donkey.
You're probably talking about a couple of people at a time unloading the cargo. I'm guessing you could probably make in a 12-hour period, you could probably make 3 runs.
Well, how much cattle do they really need? It's a small.
Well, we're trying to get rid of this stuff.
We're giving them all the
We're
cattle.
killing time till it's safe to go
No,
somewhere else.
we're finding a home.
And making money.
10 days.
Let's just sell them some cows as prostitutes
No.
to be on.
13 days. Sorry.
I veto the cow prostitutes.
Well, that's your taste, but not theirs.
What,
We don't
what
need-
they
we
do with
didn't-
the cows once they buy them, I don't care.
We don't even know that these are prostitute cows. These could be, I don't know, milkers.
I want it on the record since this is being recorded. I do not support cow prostitution. So
Nobody does.
I know, I understand the rest of you do, but
Well,
just in case
just
this
for,
video ever comes out
Hey.
and during my
Well,
Senate campaign, I
Their
want to
body,
make sure
their
it's
choice.
clear.
Just for
If
the
cow
record,
wants to be a prostitute, I say it's okay.
just for the record, if it's a milk cow, you have to keep it pregnant.
All right,
I'm no
They don't make-
biologist, but that
that's
seems like a
Texas-
very specific kind of thing.
that's some Texas
They don't-
wisdom dropped on us there.
They don't make milk otherwise, boys.
Yep.
All
They
Makes
only
a
have to
certain
get
kind of
pregnant
sense.
once, don't they? If you keep milking them, they'll keep doing it, won't they?
For a period of time, but without additional pregnancies, they will eventually dry out.
This is
Okay.
almost as good as our first conversation of
You have to breed.
all men on the
milk cows.
conversation, like talking about how to keep the memories flowing. Okay,
See, that's what I love playing this game, is you learn so much.
yeah. The more you
It's
know,
true.
rainbow just comes across your head.
All right, so you got permission to land. You guys can, I'm assuming you outfit the slice of lime, get in there and go ahead and go down into the gravity well and land at the same place that you landed before, this very sort of rudimentary pad, sort of about 5 miles away from the city. Tufik is largely exactly how you remember it. You were only here about 2 weeks ago. So
We're not falling for no punk kids taking the cargo either this time.
well, you didn't bring any cargo, right? So you never brought anything down. Unless you want to offload the medicines, you can bring all the medicine down.
Bring
If you
all
want
the
to.
Let's take all the medicine with us the first
Yeah.
time.
Okay, so you bring the medicine down. That takes you a couple hours to sort of muscle it into the slice line, but you get
Don't
there.
we have a really
and-
long cable? We can just lower the cows from orbit down, like a reverse
Just-
abduction.
Just chuck them out the side and let gravity do the
Space
work.
elevator.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
just
gotta get a space elevator technology stat.
Yeah, chuck them out the side. Fresh meat on the way, boys.
yep. It's gonna be barbecue by the time it gets you.
Yeah.
It's like wrapping a potato up in aluminum foil and putting it on the grill. Yeah, so you get down there and you're greeted. In this case, Elder Herndon has actually come out to meet you, and he's brought Sergei's uncle, Hugo, who comes out and comes over and gives you all guys a bear hug, and you're like, oh shit, I need those bones. Please don't crack them. That kind of thing. You guys remember how strong physically these people are. They welcome you back with open arms. They're like glad to see you, but we didn't expect you so soon. Why these? Not that we're unhappy, but why the surprise visit? Is another? And Hugo's like, oh, I'm sure my nephew just sent us another load of something good. What have you got for us this time that Sergei sent?
I was like, well, this is Sergey definitely sends his
The
sends his
bovines, the
hello,
frozen bovine.
but we had a deal going, but it fell through, and we are stuck. We're looking to move some farm animals that we have, and we thought who better to utilize the livestock than our friends on Tufik.
Oh, so they're like very interested. So first of all, the medicines, absolutely, they're just like, this is great. We can absolutely use these. They have a lot of questions about the animals because they have a fair amount of animals here that are largely adapted to the higher gravity. They're not sure about these, but they're certainly willing to take them. your guess is that they think that the likelihood of these animals remaining alive for very long inside the intense gravity of Tufik, if they're not born to it or genetically augmented to deal with it, that their lifespans are probably going to be short. So they're talking steaks rather than animals, but
It's meat. It's fresh meat. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll take them.
Sure. Guys will eat well this year.
Yeah.
Huh.
So 73 tons of barbecue. So that's pretty
That's
solid.
party.
So it
They're
will
thinking
take.
They won't make good brides.
No, they have brides of their own. They have sheep for that. So they will take it, but they realize that. I mean, you guys realize that the logistics of getting 73 tons of meat down from orbit in a shuttle, it's going to take, by my calculation, it's going to take 13 days.
My God.
We got time.
Okay. So in the meantime, they welcome you and they're like, come on, they brought one of those crappy solar panel trucks that they use, and they're like, hop in, let's go to the city. We'd love to talk to you about, Elder Rikus would love to speak with you briefly, and if you guys want to, we'll get you. What's that one place that you stayed at? When Hugo's like, they're staying with me, you big idiot, and he's like, no, they're not. They're staying at that one hotel, the bar and grill that they like. No, he's like, I won't have them. They're staying with me, and so apparently you're staying with Hugo's at Hugo's house again.
Can't wait.
But yeah, they seem pleased to see you and certainly welcome you guys bringing the thing. As you guys are driving to the city,
I'd like to think this is our Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid hideout kind of place.
You've got a hideout now. So
Wow.
as you're driving to the city, they're asking you. It's great that you brought this. It's quite unexpected. And Hugo will admit, it's like, I haven't talked with Sergey for a little over a month. And we certainly didn't expect this. I'm not sure we have the appropriate payments in place. What is this all taken care of previously, or because this isn't on our agendas? We weren't expecting you.
I totally understand that. No, this is one that wasn't scheduled, so it hasn't been prepaid for by Sergey or anyone else. You owe Sergey quite a bit. Have we paid Sergey off? I can't remember.
Yeah, Sergey's paid. Oh, well, it depends. You've paid him for the work that was done on the ship. That's paid in full. For protecting you for 3 or 4 days and the hiding in the safe house, and helping you on at least 2 occasions to get away from either Constab or the the consequences of your actions at the warehouse. You have, I mean, if you're planning on giving him, you guys did give him some of the Tufikian scotch, but not all of it, certainly. I think you guys gave him a pallet and you guys kept a pallet.
Yep. Correct.
But that was before. I think that was when you had returned. It was sort of like a gift. It wasn't necessarily a quid pro quo for the favors.
So is there a deal we can work out here where we, when they do talk to Sergey, he's not going to be like, "What? Those bandits? Aren't they wanted by the law?" Or some sort of deal we can come to that we keep him sweet too by hooking up his peoples.
Well, Sergey's a businessman, right? And he's not going to feel ripped off because he had no part in this.
All right.
In fact, Sergey is probably well aware of the cargo. I mean, he didn't mention the cargo in your hold, but he had nothing to do with it. He knew that you had cargo. He would. I mean, he's a businessman. He would appreciate the fact that you guys were able to. He might actually appreciate the fact that you guys were able to deliver this cargo to his uncle's people, as opposed to just spacing it or giving it to somebody else.
Okay. So I would say we're here to see if we can make a deal. We understand that this is not scheduled, but we're both business folk here, and I bet we can come to some sort of arrangement that's amenable to both. I, of course, want it all in Tufikian ale, but we can that's easily sellable elsewhere. But
well, yeah, and so if that comes up, I mean, frankly, they seem a bit relieved that you're not, asking for, Terran credits or anything like that. They're like, Scotch and Tufikian ale, we can absolutely do this. We can work this out. We have that, and if that's something you guys,
you don't have any tigers on this planet, right? I just want to make sure.
No tiger penises.
Okay. always looking for a fresh source,
Stay out of my cod piece.
All right. When you guys fall out of jump, you receive a couple of subspace messages. Now, these are like general delivery messages, so the reception of which would not necessarily pinpoint you, but they're targeted to, your general thing. The first one is from Wem Yamazaki, and says this.
Oh.
So it is via subspace. It's addressed to Captain Black, crew of Gin and Tonic, from Wen Yamazaki, Spofulam, Ascension Station, Mirabilis. Message is audio only, no video, and it says, "Come home. We need to debrief the boss. You'll be safe here. Your cabin boy has an all systems out on him from Terra. No mention of you, but that might be worse. We want to talk with your cabin boy. You've earned a bonus. Send notice as to arrival. Stay safe."
Cabin boy.
Sent that?
That would be, yeah, all right, okay.
The cabin boy is Keeve.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
who's in it? Was that Palmer or who's?
It was Wen Yamazaki from
From
Spofulam.
Spofulam, okay.
Right, okay.
Okay. Well,
And then
find
there's
name a time and place that we feel is safe, yeah.
So, and then there is a message, and it's addressed specifically to Weber, and it's eyes only Weber. Of course,
Okay.
it's probably not eyes only if I hit this button and it shows everybody.
It is not.
And it's not shit, all but All right.
All right.
So basically, it's via subspace, Weber Jix eyes only, from Bill Scaramouche at Greenpernt.
Uh-oh.
And it's full video audio, so when you fire it up, it's basically him on screen. And he's like, "Hey, Weber, I'm not sure if or when you'll get this, but I felt I had to send it. We've got word yesterday that a fleet of 5 Ursae ships will be arriving at Greenpernt in about a week. They've had some dealings with Tyla here, which I assume is about you guys, but they are pre-ordering supplies and on-station docking berths for the ships. I took a look at the ship specs, and these aren't cargo ships. At least one of them is a full-on, and then my thing is a full-on Ursae warship, which means that they've gotten some special permissions from Terra. I don't know why I thought of you guys when I heard this was happening, but something tells me that you needed to know. I'll call again if I learn anything else.
I'm going to send a note to my favorite Bill. Hey, to my favorite Bill. Thank you for the heads up. Appreciate it. It's interesting that our tiny little party has aroused such interest from the Ursae, but we appreciate them taking us seriously with the requisite amount of firepower to take on the party of 5 here, or party of 6, I guess, with the cap. What else I ask him? Oh, you bottle when I next see you. Probably won't be stopping by anytime soon, but never say never.
All right, you gonna code that and send it?
Yep.
All right.
I'm also thinking, guys, if we can find this is not the right planet for it, but I'm thinking once we get rid of this stuff, there's nothing more. Nothing goes better than peas and carrots than a ship that has a registry that's changed, right? That's all through us. Our history is ships that were one name one day or another name the next day, and I think it might be time to maybe ride the outlaw trail for a while under a different name, and maybe come up with a new identity. So we all probably know some guys who might be able to help with some of that, but I'm thinking that going around as a gin and tonic, it's going to be hard to conduct our business, especially if now there's a fleet of Ursae looking for us specifically.
Well, you don't know. He said, he goes, they haven't. So basically he says, look, they're coming to Greenpernt. They'll arrive in about a week. It's 5 ships. They're not cargo ships. At least one is a full-on warship, which means that there may be more, but at least one of them is. They've got, if they're bringing essentially a warship into maybe more than one warship into Terran space, they've had to get special permission about that. So so he's not sure what kind of deal they've cooked up with Terra. He's not party to that, but they basically, what he noticed was they've given Greenpernt advance notice that they're going to need berths for large ships. They're going to need supplies, and they're going to need to take on supplies, fuel, whatever. He's not sure what's going on, but man, the first thing he thought of when he found out that the Ursae were on their way was you guys, and he thought he would let you know. That's basically the tenor of the.
Just for some reason, we were crazy enough we wanted to jump there. How far is Greenpernt from where we are now? If they're going to
be there. Okay, let's take a look. Hold on a sec. So
I don't know what value we get to be there, guys, to learn intelligence on the ground, but
All right, let's
Sounds like a
take a
dangerous
look.
place to be.
We're gonna use pink. All right, so you guys are at 2-fic. First triple jump would be from here, 1, 2, 3 to here, deep space. So you go here, galactic south.
Hold on, I got it.
Then 1, 2. The next jump would put you here. And then 3 jumps, 3 weeks. That would put you in the Greenpernt.
Oh, okay. I got it.
There you go. 3 weeks. See that pink line? That's the travel. Unless, I mean, you could tweak that up if you wanted to go through a couple of interesting sidelines, maybe stop off, talk to the Affront for a couple hours, you know, what have you. You could go through those as well. You could make that work. There's a couple of different paths you could take. That's the straightest one.
I can't think. I'm just brainstorming here, guys. But I can't think of a reason why we'd want to show up with a bunch of Ursae warships. That seems like the worst place to be. But is there any value to getting there and learning what they're doing there? Okay, well, I guess we'll just table that one since no one has anything to add to that. I'm just talking to myself. Fuck me, right? Okay, thanks.
I think they're
So
I think they're ready for a fight when they find us because we've already killed a couple of ships.
Right.
yeah. If we
Well,
lure
it's
the
different.
space-
They're different ships, right? So you guys, well, you destroyed a couple of ships, and you killed at least one. Those were constab interceptors. That's local law enforcement. Essentially blowing up a couple of cop cars and, you know, local PD.
I got a thought here. How's this for an evil plan? We find Seventide. We tell them there's some juicy Ursae just spoiling for a fight. We flip on the power generator of the little homing signal that Smitchy was carrying, and we wait and see what happens with our, sitting next to our friend the Affront.
I was kind of having the same thought. Put the signal
And
on.
let's just conduct a
Seventide.
major space battle.
That sounds like fun, actually.
I mean, that's
So wait, let me get this straight. You're gonna get close. You're gonna fly out to Greenpernt, then turn on the tracking signal on the assumption that they're looking for Keith Smitchy and they know this is in his body, and then so
Yeah,
that
that's
they're gonna twig to you guys. You waggle your ass at them and then go into jump and lead them back towards a front space, but not into a front space, but back towards it, on the assumption that you previously have talked to Seventide, and he is putting together a comparable fleet that when the Ursae show up, they're just going to blast the shit out of them on your behalf.
Yeah.
I love this plan.
I mean, once you say tracking device,
It just falls together like peas and carrots. Wow, okay.
Does
Well,
anybody hate that plan just adequately? Obviously, there's a lot of predication here. We'd have to talk with Seventide and
We
decide
can.
if there's any moral conundrums we have for watching a bunch of innocent space bears get blown into smithereens.
you know,
I'm pretty good right now on that though, because I've had my head almost taken off like 5 times already by
Right,
Ursae. So
right. Yeah, Coffin, Mallory is fine with this plan. Yes.
Doc looked like he fell asleep there.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got your John.
no,
Lennon.
I brilliant.
he's recovering those intellect points.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have those back now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful
Hey,
plan.
Tam / Gawker, what do you think of that plan?
I vote present.
Present.
All right.
Look. When the War Crimes Tribunal convenes, and you are there in the docket, you can't just say, "Well, it was all Weber's idea." That's not going to fly. You're the pilot.
And what about you, Chuck?
Okay, Weber and Jix. Weber and Wagner.
What if,
No, I'm okay with it. I'm good with it.
to be honest, all of this conflict is sort of before me.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I don't-
Yeah, you've never met them.
I don't have a firm grip on it,
right.
but this red square, that was where, wasn't that an Ursae group
It's-
waiting for us?
No,
Well,
well, technically,
Yes and no. Yeah, that's where Ursae Mafia were hanging out originally, right? And they were
And Smitchy was
shuttling
gonna
frozen scientists.
Smitchy was gonna deliver us to them.
Correct.
Don't
Yeah.
we know, isn't there a supposed
Penny Dreadful.
system? Yeah, isn't there a supposed system where the scientists were being taken to?
I don't think
According
we
to
know that.
Yeah, according to Smitchy, it wasn't a system, it was a station. It was a deep space station. According to Smitchy, what he'd heard was that it was enormous. And that the Ursae had placed it out in deep space somewhere. And here's the thing, if you look at the star chart, you can see, so the Ursae homeworld is in Kukulkan's system. It's this fella right here. You've got a couple of loose, like, sort of, so these three systems, Kukulkan, what is that, Goliath and Trapezus, Goliad and Trapezus, those are all Ursae systems, right? They own that. The problem is it's sort of out in the distance. So the Ursae have largely, with their interface with the Terran Consortium and pretty much every other alien in the galaxy is through Greenpernt.
Yeah. It's Space Casablanca, populated by people named Bill or Stacy. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That's Greenpernt. But yeah, so something like this, you don't know that they're going to want to have that too far away from their homeworld, but just far enough where they have plausible deniability. And maybe there's a safety factor around, right? They're working with extra dimensional intelligences to improve, to make rapid strides in jump space technology, strides that they don't want anybody else to know about. So you can bet that at least in some back of their minds, they're saying, what if there's an accident? We don't want this on our doorstep. So this, wherever this station is, you can bet it's not in Kukulkan's system. But beyond that, you don't know. Smitchy didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
He said deep space. They had a huge space station in deep space somewhere. That's where they were bringing the scientists, and that's where they were conducting the experiments. Now, a station that holds hundreds of Ursae and kidnapped scientists, plus labs, plus experimental areas. It's going to be a big station out there somewhere. But you got to figure the Ursae have every reason to keep this as secret as possible. They purged a bunch of scientists at huge expense because they thought that they were going to try and release this information out somehow.
Right. So for my part, I don't know sort of what you're dealing with this other stuff, but I'm with the crew. I have an interest in finding out where the scientists were taken. Beyond that, I mean, you guys are going to have to make what's the best decision based on your experience with these groups in the past, which I haven't had.
Right. I would love it if Seventide met the big Ursae space station. That would be just great.
Well, here's I mean, who else to tell us where the station is than a bunch of Ursae that just got jettisoned from their blown up spaceships, and
or the ship
that's true.
The ship that's in the red square that is making the shuttle trips there to take scientists, they would know where it is.
That the Penny Dreadful?
Yeah.
Well, you got to figure the Penny Dreadful was supposed to meet Smitchy for him to deliver you guys 3 days ago before you popped out of jump space. So there was a time differential. So they've had 3 days to sort of try and figure out what happened and what went wrong when they didn't get their delivery of the gin and tonic, the crew of the gin and tonic. The likelihood is they probably went back to Cymbeline to try and find out what's going on. But they're 2 parsecs away, which means they're probably not using fusion drive. They probably went into jump space. They probably jumped to Cymbeline, which means because of the differential, they'll get to if your assumptions are correct, they didn't get the delivery. They waited a day for something to happen, and then they said he's not coming. They decided to jump back to Cymbeline because the Penny Dreadful was at Cymbeline Station for a while. You guys will remember that. They jumped back to Cymbeline to learn that you guys left, killed a bunch of guys, took Smitchy with you.
We didn't kill a bunch of guys.
Yeah, the story keeps getting bigger, as next it'll be like they vented the hull, killed everyone, nobody's heard from Cymbeline Station again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the Braveheart thing. 50 if I was one.
Or they could be discussing it like birds. How many guys got killed? About 200 guys, that kind of thing.
I'm
But yeah, but they're going to get twigged to the fact that you guys went a different way with Kiev in about 4 days. Now that's going to put you. I mean, you've got 13 days of unloading stuff in here. Nobody knows you're a Tufik except for the Tufikers, and they aren't talking. Right? You guys are welcome. You guys are welcome friends who are bringing treats.
Right.
And the doctor was able to remove the tracking and remove the cortex bomb while we were in jump space. So once we went into jump space, they never got a signal from that tracking device again.
Right.
Correct. No, you fixed the tracking device. You basically disconnected the small fissile material from the power system. It still works. It's just disconnected. It's like taking the battery. It's like, I think Don had a great analogy. It's like taking the battery out of a smoke detector.
Right. Right. So it's turned off, which means
it's turned off.
They weren't able to track it beginning when we went into jump space.
Right.
And I don't think we should put it on a cow anymore. We don't want to call that kind of heat here to this simple system.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
We don't want to do anything to call attention to our friends here on Tufik.
Yeah.
Well,
And
so here's
the whole time we're here, I'm staying on the ship.
you're not going to go down to Tufik?
No.
Ain't no party like a Tufik party. What are you talking about?
What, are you afraid of a little gravity? Come on.
Afraid of a 4-foot tall woman who can carry you around on her shoulders?
No computers, no machines, cow shit.
It is.
Yeah, we're overlooking the cordyceps that almost wiped out the planet.
I'm a city boy. I'm gonna stay on the ship with my internet access. Thank you very much.
It's the perfect way to find old school porn in the woods by a mattress.
It is pretty much the galactic version of going to Branson for 2 weeks.
No. And the kind of porn you find in the woods next to a mattress at this place is nothing you want to see.
This place is so off the grid, though. It's woodblock porn, right? Yeah,
You guys still have
they had to carve into a woodblock.
porn. You guys probably go ahead.
4 foot thick-legged women. No, thank you. And I'm guessing body hair is not dealt with. So no, I'm staying on the ship.
If you want some good stuff, we still have some of the German industrial Ursae porn left over from our first cargo.
Like a whole crate.
Yeah, it's next to the crate of Ewok pelts that we kept to keep Andrew crazy.
Which, if Dan was here at this point, he would be going berserk. They're not Ewok pelts.
They're not
Ewoks.
On behalf of the Disney Corporation, I must state, for the record,
they were definitely Ewoks.
All right, so you're staying in the thing. So and as you're thinking about this, Bishop, I think one of the things that you realize is you've got a tracker and a field generator, an energy field generator in the same guy. But they're not the same unit. So if you were looking for this guy and you wanted to kill him, you could use the GPS to locate him, put the activation mechanism as close as possible, and then activate him. It's like what's that thing that Jim uses in Quarantine with the Classics? Hunter's Mark.
Yeah.
It's like Hunter's Mark for assassins.
And at this point, if I'm staying on the ship, has Keeve woken up?
Keeve's up. Yeah, he's up and around. He's not feeling too great, but he is conscious. And no,
we saved his life. You saved
no infection.
Dr. Webber saved his life.
I'm going to explain to him the tech items that were taken out of his body.
Okay.
Rectally.
Will you go ahead. Right.
And so basically I'm going to say when the doctor and Mallory sort of strong armed you into this surgery, telling you it was for your own good, you didn't believe it. And I don't blame you. It's difficult to believe. But these devices, and I'm not going to open the box to let you see one of them because it could blow up at any minute. These devices were in you. Somebody had the ability to track you, and somebody had the ability to vaporize you from the neck up with a command code.
Yeah, essentially.
That's not a problem anymore for you because those things have been removed. But when you talk to the doctor and or Mallory, it might not hurt to have a little bit of humility and gratitude for still being alive.
So at first, when you're explaining this to him, he seems dubious because think of it from his point of view. You guys put him under the thing. To his mind, he's thinking, okay, yeah, we took these things out of you, except for one we can't let you see because it's in a crate down in the hold. But we took these things out of you and saved your life, so you owe us big time. And he's like, this story seems even less likely than the one Dr. Wagner told
I didn't
me.
say anything. I didn't say anything about he owed us.
Well, you told him that you needed to be nice to Dr. Wagner.
Well, I told him a little bit of humility and gratitude would probably go a long way. And if he doesn't believe me, that's his choice. He's kind of a dick. I would have been fine with them spacing him because he's an asshole. But at this point, he's an asshole whose life is no longer in extreme danger, thanks to the workings of the doctor and Mallory. And I just think he needs to know that. I do have the ability to add to his IV if he wants to get snippy.
Just turn up, give him a little touch of ketamine.
I'm a trained EMT, so I know which meds to use.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Give me a quick D20, no modifiers. 8. Okay. At first, when you begin telling him this, he looks dubious. He's like, I mean, you can tell that as you sort of talk about the things that were removed and that kind of stuff. He talks about, you think that you feel like he thinks you're putting him on. As you go through with it, there's a certain change that comes over his face. And, towards the end of the explanation, he's sort of rubbing his neck and nodding and that kind of stuff. One thing you do see is he's sort of like, he's doing this to the back of his neck, like he's sort of like pushing on it and kind of like touching it in ways that he's like almost like he's investigating the musculature. Now, because you were in the surgery, that this thing it was behind the musculature and attached to the vertebrae.
Wouldn't have felt it
there's no way you could feel it, but he's sort of doing that. Now you're not sure if that's like an unconscious reaction to the fact that he's realizing that this thing was inside his body, or if he's trying to determine if you're still lying to him and if there's something that he can feel that you guys have implanted.
Right.
You're not sure which one that is, but he does seem chastened. He's not accusing you guys of anything, and he's sort of nodding along. Right? Yes. No. I could see that's true. I understand it. I suppose I do, to a large extent, potentially owe you my life. I don't understand where these things could have come from. I certainly don't recall them having them implanted. I wouldn't have stood for it. But I do have to admit that you might be right in this.
Chuck, you might backtrack with him where he was at the time that we thought it was implanted.
Yeah. So
while you're with him,
basically giving that something to think about. I'm not going to state facts. We don't necessarily know for sure either, but
okay.
The bomb in your head or in your neck was put in about 12 months ago. So you can think about where you were and who you were with, and if those people were likely to be trusted, or if they did this in case you became untrustworthy, etc.
You can see
now. For now, would you like something to eat?
Oh my God, yes! If you guys have anything to eat, and I don't know if you have access to it, but I do know that Mr. Jix has some of that delicious Scotch whiskey. I certainly could use to have a 3 fingers of that if you have access to it.
That's where I put the explosive, in case you touch it.
It's in a glass. Here you go, idiot.
You have 2 open wounds that are healing. Alcohol is not your friend at the moment. I'm sure that once you've gotten better,
I'll decide who my friends are.
Yeah, you've done such a good job of that up to now. With the Ursae and Tyla. Anyway, I'll get him some basic food and
a little soup, perhaps.
A Keystone Light, a Natty Light.
A little soup. I might have to bring him the spoon.
You might have to bring him the spoon.
In memory of Conan Doyle.
This soup tastes like tiger.
That's right.
Tiger penis stew. What? I don't know what's going on. But
he seems a little sullen that the scotch isn't forthcoming. But I guess he understands that. Yeah, he just had surgery a couple of days ago. Fairly invasive surgery, which he has not at all healed up from yet. So, yeah, he gets it. But yeah, a bowl of delicious soup without any penis in it would be delicious.
That's the goal of all soups we have here.
Well, even if they run out of tiger penis, there's Dr. Wagner and the galley just like, let me stir that for you. There we go.
Right. So I'll make sure he's taken care of, because I'm assuming almost everybody else, maybe everybody else, has gone to the planet's surface as part of this negotiation / transaction. So I'll keep an eye on him and make sure he's taken care of while they're gone.
Well, so I guess you'd probably keep him in his room. He wouldn't be wandering around the ship.
He's just had an incision in his lower back near his kidney.
Yep.
And at the base of his spine. I would assume he wants to be laying still.
Yeah, he wants to lay down. Well, he probably suspects, and based on what you know, sort of the little chit chat that you guys engage in, he thinks you guys are still in jump space. So he's like, he makes a few pauses. He's like, so he says things like, so when is it scheduled for us to arrive in Mirabilis? He's just sort of, you can see him sort of throwing these little bon mots out there to try and get some information for you. I'm assuming that you're not biting that hook.
No, well, I'm fairly intelligent, even though I don't have diplomacy or anything like that. So it'll be questions like that will get answered with, I'm just an engineer. That's a pilot question. I don't steer the ship. I just make sure the steering wheel works.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, if I trust that I will be fully healed by the time we get there, and I take my leave from you, and with much thanks. But if you see the captain, perhaps ask him for me if he might come down, and we talk about that a little bit when he gets a moment, of course.
No. Well, and I'll check over his wounds and say, these look to be healing correctly. I'll let the doctor know of your progress, and he'll come and visit when he determines it's necessary.
Oh, thank you. I much appreciate that, Mr. Hawk. Thank you again. All right, so the rest of you are down in the city, and there's a brief meeting with Rikus, who welcomes you back. I've heard that you've brought some cargo down, to us. This was certainly unexpected, but and he has sort of the same question. He's like, look, you understand, our arrangements here are usually done informally. We don't participate in the galactic credit system, due to our theological thoughts, but our theological predispositions. But certainly, what you've brought to us is excellent. We're very pleased to host you again so quickly. Perhaps a trade or barter may be arranged.
That's what we're looking for.
Ah, splendid. I was worried that you guys would be demanding credits, which we simply do not use.
I think another comparable cargo that might be a little easy to report, get back up to the ship.
How many women can we get?
Yeah, they're women. I want to buy them.
You going full on Jake Blues here at the restaurant? How much for the women?
Want to buy them.
And basically, he hints around that if you guys were willing to take some scotch again, in this case, some new brewed ales that they've been building here, certain like that, a couple of perhaps 4 tons to each of scotch and ales.
I think that, I don't know what the comparable rate is, but I think that's going to be more than sufficient. That the 4 tons of scotch will be more than enough to make up for 70 tons of cows, as I recall, right? This stuff goes for a pretty penny, as I recall.
It does, yeah. It's widely considered the best in the region, and certainly in the Cymbeline, certainly in the Cymbeline cluster, it's quite rare. So people just go ahead.
So that in the ale, we can become space Diageo out here. Just
space Diageo. Yeah. Well, so the reality is, there's only one place that could historically ever get Tufik Tufikian Scotch outside of Tufik, and that's Cymbeline. And because that's Cymbeline system is the only people that Tufik trades with. What they'll
Right.
do is the agricultural products that are not, the more standard agricultural products, the Cymbeline will come pick it up, pay these guys in various things, and then Cymbeline then resells this, uses it, some of it, resells some of it, that kind of thing. So if you were on Terra or Prometheus and you wanted a glass of Tufikian Scotch, the reality is it would be like asking for Pappy in a bar somewhere. You may be able to get it. You would pay through the nose for it, and it's just it's not like you could take home a bottle. It's not there.
Good girl.
So basically, you've got 2 tons of Pappy.
4 tons. You said 4 tons.
Well, the ale would be some
tons
sort of,
and 4
it would
tons
be
of it.
analogous to some sort of British Affligan triple or something like that. Something equally unavailable outside of this, like within 2 parsecs of
All
where,
right.
where you're standing.
So we can, that's something we can move, and then let's figure out once we do this deal, like, what our next plan is. I'm thinking reaching out to people like Palmer or some of our other contacts. Maybe we could find somebody who could help us rebadge the ship, or something we could travel around without getting killed, or we go for our full-on, let's lure the Kzinti into a death trap plan, which I also am perfectly happy with. When is the captain back? When is Dan back?
Dan is back. Well, he'll be back for the next game. I would imagine I think he's got another week in the UK.
Okay, walking around.
So after you guys, so the elders seem quite pleased that you guys are willing to take non-money sort of things, as payment for this. And so once they've actually, you could tell that they were a little nervous that this was going to be a problem, and so they were a little reluctant to bring it up, but they wanted to sort it out more quickly than. They want to sort it out quickly. They didn't want you guys bringing down a bunch of stuff that they weren't going to be able to pay for.
Yeah,
Right.
as long as Weber thinks it's worth our time, comparable payment, then that's what we'll do. We'll throw in the meds for free, and then everything else we want a comparable payment.
Yeah, it's something like this. When you get into other areas, of
payment, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it'll be insanely profitable. So I'm gonna also just we got to keep track of you guys, where you guys are in the in the area. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this on there. There you go.
I like it.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
So you guys are on there. All right. So after that, you guys go out. You guys get some food and that kind of stuff. And Hugo, which is spelled with a T, by the way, Sergei's uncle, takes you to his house and basically busts out some of his own stock, some local wine and stuff like that. And you guys are sitting around having a drink. He's like, "All right, then. All that horseshit that you told the elders, the other one. I know as well as you do that you're not here at Sergei's behest, and this isn't a scheduled run. So all right, I knew when you guys when they said that you're in orbit and they called me, I knew that there was some freaking in the fucking rigging here. So tell me what's going on."
What are we good telling him? I think we tell him anything that we don't think will endanger his life, right? Like
I tell him, yeah, I think we tell him anything he wants to know.
yeah, I tell him. I say
if he says stop telling me, I don't want to hear anymore.
I'll preface the story saying, at some point in this story, I will tell you everything over. Pour a little more of that in my glass, thank you. I'll tell you everything you want to know. However, at some point in the story, you might stop and say, "I don't want to know another thing," and that's where we'll stop. So I'll start from the travel into Greenpernt and catch him up to this afternoon.
Okay.
I might gloss over a little of the gunplay with the T. Well, I mean, Sergey is going to tell him anyway, but
well, I don't know. I don't know. That's Thanksgiving dinner conversation with you. Hey, you won't believe who these friends of mine killed.
Right. So say that we got into some a bit of a battle with Tyler forces because we'd been fingered by these same Ursae agents, and here's the situation. Like what they're looking to do could have dramatic impacts to everybody in this sector of the galaxy, including here. So it's a big pile of shit we're sitting on, and we're trying to figure out how to get rid of it.
Okay.
And what to do next.
Well, after you tell this story, he's quiet for like about a full minute, doesn't say anything, and then he's like, "Well, I guess that's a pretty good reason, if you ask me." And he's like, so he sort of like shakes his head. He's like, this sounds like bullshit, but I don't know enough about science to refute it. So so he's like, well, then it was right for you to come here and bring these things to us, and we're glad you did. And he raises his glass and that kind of stuff. You could see that he's just like a combination of this story has several elements in it that are frankly friggin' beyond my understanding, and some of them which are obviously fraught with moral hazard, which he doesn't want to get involved with.
I would
either.
say that he doesn't discuss this with anybody. Yeah, it would be for his safety and the safety of this planet in general. This is not something. This is people have already killed for it at wholesale levels. So if the rumors are true, so
Yeah.
let's just keep this between us, old friends
But
here.
that I'm not telling a soul of that story.
I know you're somebody who can hold their liquor clearly because you're from this planet, so I know you won't blurt it out in a drunken.
Yeah, and you get to know he knows that Sergey is not exactly the the businessman that he often claims to be in public
The
company.
Boy Scout, yeah.
Yeah, he knows, and he knows that a lot of this stuff.
I didn't say an ill word about Sergey. He's nothing but good to us.
Well, he knows that Sergey also deals. Frankly, his uncle has benefited, and the planet has benefited from Sergey's, sending things here, and he knows that some of those things probably, stolen. Yeah, it could be anything. He doesn't ask questions. He's not gonna. He certainly. You get the impression that he's not going to snitch on you guys. He's like, I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad we can toss back a few more, and maybe we'll wrestle it. And he sort of jumps up. Come on, let's wrestle.
Yeah, that's Dr. Wagner. He loves the wrestling. I have an old rugby and space rugby injury. I can't wrestle.
Oh, space rugby, that's a tough game. But yeah, he seems accommodating, and certainly you guys are welcome down there. And he puts you basically the same places that you were staying at before.
Nice. Well, except for Doyle. So now Mallory gets Doyle's room, right?
Well, you guys go. So after a while, you take your leave of Hugo and you go into town and you go to that same bar that you went to that one time.
Yes.
And and the lady behind the bar, it's the same lady. She's wiping off the bar. She sees you guys roll it. She's like, "Oh shit, they're back."
Damn, get back.
And a couple of people, I mean, you recognize a couple of them, Johanna and Danielle and some of those guys, and they're like, we're calling some of the others to come pick you up because I know that you're going to be on the floor before the day's over. They give you, they call up Tobias Vaish, the guy that you work with, the separatist guy, and that kind of stuff. And he shows up after a while. He's like, "Oh, my old friends," that kind of thing. So it's very much a thing.
Might as well have a great party before we all go dying horribly in space.
Yeah.
So.
In short order, word spreads and that place is full now.
Yeah. It's like it's those fucking off-worlders are back home and then they've come back. They're busting chairs at the bar right now. Everybody's happy to see you. They're a little surprised, frankly. It's only been a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks since you guys were here last. So they realistically, and Joanna will say this, is like, we never expected to see you guys again. Because that's usually how it goes with people who drop off stuff for Sergey. Either they keep to themselves and they don't interact with us, or they hang out a little while, they get they have a good time, and then they take off, that kind of thing. And she's like, we certainly never expected to see you again, but they're like, we're glad you're here. And so
as I understand, are looking for good husbands, so we thought we'd hang around and see what's given.
You better get some genetic alterations to take this gravity, because once you tangle with a two-ficker woman, you'll be spoiled for all your fellow Terrans. You'll never go back to those thin wisps of nothing. She gives you a big hug, lifts you off the ground, that kind of thing, and
it reminds me of Blackadder, Colonel Flashheart or whatever. Like I like a woman with a beard. Gives you something to hang on to.
Well, they don't have beards here, but there are the women on Tufik are just as tough as the men, and probably meaner. So there you have it. All right, so
if you're looking for a future ex-wife, you ask for more than that. Twice as mean as the men, yeah.
That's what I look for. I like two-figure women. They're as tough as the men and twice as mean. All right, so you guys are in Tufik. You're relatively safe. You got about 13 days of ferrying supplies from orbit downward. That's going to take some time. I'm
We're also
assuming
going to bring recipes that we know from the barbecue recipes from that we've gathered from around the galaxy.
we've got a crate of Maul's barbecue sauce straight from Terra. But so they're like, you're going to be here a couple of weeks, and that's great, and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. You guys got a couple other things going on, right? So Bill Scaramouche obviously is like, look, that you guys are going to be here for, and I'm going to build a chart, and I'll send it out to everybody, like a time chart of who people are during what time and what days, kind of thing, so we can chart that out. But the Ursae are going to arrive in Greenpernt before you leave Tufik. Captain Lamont on the Penny and the Penny Dreadful are gonna be twigged to the fact that you guys left Cymbeline in a bit of a rush and took Smitchy with you in a couple of days, certainly during your time at Tufik. And your guess is, and I think Chuck brought it up, Bishop brought it up, is like they're going to start looking for their man, right? They've taken the time to put a GPS tracker and a Cortex bomb in this guy. That's not something that you don't use in extremists. They're going to use it, so they're going to be looking, and they're going to be trying to figure out where you guys are to try and get out that. You'll probably, Tyla has probably already dispatched people to Gleazy 570 to see if you guys were dumb enough to deliver the supplies to the cargo to your designated destination. So it's good that you're not gonna do that. But you're also got a message from Wen, who basically says, "Come home, come to Mirabilis. We need to debrief the boss." You're not sure who she's referring to, but probably Elwyn Spofulam, which is the guy you met and made you the first offer for the Spofulam Corporation. He's one of the younger sons.
Right.
You'll be safe here, which means they probably have, frankly, as much influence as Spofulam Corporation exercises over a Mirabilis system. The Tyla offices there are probably a wholly owned subsidiary of the company. So you could be safe there. The cabin boy, which you assume means Smitchy, has an all systems out on him, and you recognize that as being an all systems. Basically, the Tyla has issued to every system a jump message that basically says, "Be on the lookout for this guy, Abolo."
It's either Smitchy or they're referring to Chris Elliott's great performance in the movie Cabin Boy.
Classic performance. It's either Chris Elliott or Smitchy. There's no mention they don't have a bolo out on you guys, but she says that might be worse, which means they're hunting you in secret because they don't want to have to make a big federal case out of it when they find you. As Yost says, we want to talk with your cabin boy. So they want to talk with this guy. If he's got information about their missing scientist, he could be valuable to them. And then she says, you've earned a bonus. Let us know when you can, when you're going to be here, and stay safe. So you've got a couple of different things working right now as to what you're going to do next.
We're also,
after 2 weeks in Tufik.
Didn't we shoot a note out to Palmer too? Like we told him about the Steiner library. Said we weren't able to meet the guy because we had to hottail it out.
Yeah, he has not responded.
Okay. So we'll just keep an ear out for them. And then maybe before we sign off tonight, maybe say we'll shoot a note out to Seven Tide to see if he's interested in, a party where we might bring some
Okay, you gonna send a note to Seven Tide and see if he wants to join in the fun on this?
Yeah.
If he wants to be your happy big brother. All right. What are you gonna say to him? What do you say to Seven Tide?
I would say like, hey, there's a group of bears that seem to be awful unfond of us, but realize that they might make great party favors for some sort of shindig you'd like to put together if we brought them to your neighborhood. Give them a little bit of a dimensional of what size of a group you'd be dealing with.
Okay.
They just let us know if you're interested. I'm trying to put it in a fronty situation because he likes death and violence and friendship, right? Those are his key things. Like,
yeah,
like, hey, as a good friend of yours, we want to bring it to you first.
You're his primary human friends.
Yeah, as your primary human friends, we have a party offer we want to bring to you, and you're our first guy. You're our number one guy, and tell him what the situation. I won't tell him what the situation is. Say, hey, look, we have the opportunity to bring you some unsuspecting bears to the right place, right time. Contingency is that whatever's left behind, we'd like first crack at going through it because we're looking for some specific data or information.
Okay, all right, and you send that out. Send that out to him. All right, cool.
Add on that we have tiger and bear penises. He seemed very impressed when Dr. Wagner extracted them.
Okay.
He did like that. He was
all right.
impressed. He hates tigers too. So
I will.
the ability to
yes,
grind up,
Dr.
remove and
Wagner
grind
said
up their penises would be perfect.
There's value to these, I'm telling you. Trust me.
Okay. We could save him a ton of frozen bovines to skeet shoot with if you guys want.
No, it's so
Nothing
remember
quite
when you
fun
guys
than
when you
shooting
guys
a
did
cow into space and then blowing it apart with a laser.
when you guys went hunting, it was tigers because they're challenging, right? He doesn't want
Right.
to shoot deer. This is an affronter colonel. He's not going into a hunting zone with deer. He wants the toughest. He wants
the predator experience.
Right. He wants had genetically altered tigers to make them meaner and more aggressive.
Well, imagine what you could do with your commonplace cow.
That's true. You could make it into death cow.
You're
Yes,
very
cow.
cows.
All right. All right. Lots to think about. Any final thoughts? Anybody?
I'm excited to see what we do next time. I'm looking to hear what Dan has to say about our crazy nonsense. But
well, I'll so I've got some of my notes. We've got I'll post the video up quickly, and I will get. I've got a whole bunch of notes from recaps and stuff like that. I'm gonna get that online as quick as I can, and that way we'll have a running tally of the things that have gone on, and we can refer back to. I also have a time differential chart of the people, places, and things that are important.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
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 All right. Well, thanks, you guys. This was awesome.
It was great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. I'll let you guys get it. Have a great week, and we'll talk soon. Don, I'll see you on Friday. Oh, no, I won't. Have fun in Orlando.
I'll be gone. Yep. Bye, guys.
All right.
All right. Adios, gentlemen.
Night all.
All right.
Guys.
Good night.
See y'all.